associated with different regions, because there are people from the states, other places like so much. We are thankful and grateful to this panel for yourself. So we, as we look for, we'll be looking at focus areas as looking at sexual violence. We are all given that. So, have some questions around us. Also, our feelings towards people with sex, our differences. We'll talk about home, self-esteem. We'll talk about managing emotions. These are the focus areas, and we believe that it's experience from life, friends, family, things like that. Be able to give us a wholesome package that will drive us forward. So, I might not ask everyone a question. If the question is not asked, something that you want to say, that you can always give us a notice of opinion in the microphone. Because once you get as much details, as much fast as possible to drive us. And the people are there also will throw in questions from time to time and also be treating that. So we are set and we are ready to go. So as I would just like us to just in a minute introduce yourself how you like to introduce yourself. But you can also check that everything is working online from the other side. So that with the mic to start.
Pleasure to be here this afternoon. My name is Yoga Dixon. First one, Adam, the owner of people. The privilege to begin to mentor young people for 25 days now. That was my life. I try to be realistic when it comes to issues affecting young people, by extension, family. And that is why I think I'm included on this panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, that's going to be a chemical approach.
Because we have been interacting with for a long time now. And it's always my passion to work with children. Yes, so I would like to introduce to chemical man. I would person that's young people through sexual projects while maintaining their commitment to celibacy until marriage?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. And thank you for addressing that question to me. First and foremost, we should know that God has set in motion so many laws, so many things in motion, so many principles, so many things in motion. God Himself is not going to all and this morning. For example, we look at the rises. Healthy green in the soil and it rains. That rains. It does not matter who does the plant. The wicked man, who made the man, what has placed things in motion. And once we follow that path, there are automatic results and effects that we are going to experience. Now, of course, all of us, many of us know that at some point in an individual's life, male or female, we start the puberty start. Once you get that, there are some healing chemicals in your body that are now activated. By the way, what as chemicals are the ones that define what comes in your body. If as a male now, myself is sexually, you'll be shocked what's going to happen. As a woman, it's not common, and there are things that are happening. So these are things that are however, organization will keep us from falling into danger. That's much of the emotion. What happens all these things are is able to manipulate ourselves. Sexual temptation, the truth is that the path to sexual is a path that is almost clear. Once someone starts the process, if it is not obtained, if it is not stopped at any stage, it is almost irreversible. It goes on because you have activated the chemicals in your body. I'm going to mention two quickly. One is dopamine. It is known as the other one is glutamine. The glutamine is responsible for arousal, for any sexual action. Dopamine is one that sense of pleasure. Also, things like that. I mean, if you rise, spaghetti, and so on, your body does not care about those things. At the end of the day, glucose is what the cells need. What is it? Doesn't matter whether it is carbohydrate. So once your body detects that, you might your body, your brain, it has a role in that diagnosis. So whether you are or something, brain processing different things. They are also significant is an addiction. That is why it is meant to be something that to be fine. Now, dopamine as one expresses sexual that now these two hormones are also there and they also memory. So in other words, things will just happen to you, you just get triggered even when really there's not this can trigger your memory triggers you. And it doesn't matter whether you are church, whether you are, it doesn't matter where you are, these things activate. So many a time you want to pray, prayer does not go. It does not go. God will not go back in our body. So this is why sometimes we get this wrong. When we make mistakes, I will find ourselves over and over again. Because we're doing this thing over and over again. I want to stop.
Well, that's a very interesting one. At least what I'm able to pick up from that is just like everyone that's underway demand for God, because there's no confine of marriage out there follow that right to pursue the different angle of marriage marriage. All right, so
To the next question, I write to
Okay, my own points regarding the question was that individuals should determine that God, like you said, God is the one who gave us that sexual urge and created us from chaos. And there is need also to distinguish the purpose of that. There's a reason in those chemicals that enables us to have that sexual urge. And the purpose of this is for intimacy and for procreation. So if you ask yourself, am I ready to give that? If you are not ready, you're ready for marriage, you are not expected to engage in sexual activity that will lead to that conflict. And I also say here that there is need for one to have this self-awareness. Be aware that you are going to fall into sexual sin. So when you have this awareness in you, then you will be able to guide yourself against such temptations. Like Proverbs tells us our heart is a seat of our thoughts, knowledge of our thoughts. So if you are aware, know that there is a solution in you, and that is for you to guide your heart in order not knowing that the idle mind is sure. And so when your heart is not filled with the appropriate information that is speaking, as the first guy has said, God has given us instructions and things to do. We are not prepared with such then these other desires come and then we may fall into sexual sin, even for people who are even married. And I also say here before I stop that there is also need for distinguish to identify areas that trigger sexual urges. It's very important because if, for instance, we consume more graphic things like images, videos, even novels, it can trigger that sexual urge to you. And also maybe you are always in the midst of friends that talk more of sexual or activity. Everything they want to say is about sex. You find yourself in one way or the other, getting that feeling that will not keep you are not really understand how to control themselves. I think I will do something here.
all right. Thank you. So, this is two cases of relationship. Maybe the more like okay, let's get on what the boundaries and relationship.
You sit down and boundaries, maybe we have agreed actually boundaries principles make sure that we are encouraged throughout the relationship. So the contract does not get established alone.
Okay, thank you for that. Yes, it's not during the holidays. Honestly, many people look for me, and they are really those dollars with you. So I think for me, get people involved in your relationship.
Okay.
We know human beings, we don't get married to any person. We don't get married to a person. We get married to the people in his or her life. So get people involved. You know, there's nothing secret unless you don't have a good in any relationship. So get people involved. Get vulnerable. Make yourself vulnerable so that people can see you or people can trust you. And then you make your time together be open. You know, at the end of the day, you know, you have people who will live with you when you are married, Abby, from your children to your neighbors to your so it's the love is it's a connection from the mind. But because we tend to think about the physical only thing, you know, we want to be in a secluded place, we want to, you know, talk where nobody hears. It's open. Let people as much as possible, people who you know are interested in you, be aware and let your moves open. There's no, my brother will say you are writing a book and you are covering book. Relationship, you don't do that. You don't cover your notes. When you're writing the exam, let people see that you're writing this exam so that they can advise you, they can know where to come. So I'll say get people involved who you love and you respect and who love and respect you too. And make your relationship open as much as possible. Avoid places and things. And like after the first question, know yourself. Know what triggers you because these things are there naturally. Even if you know the whole when it starts so let's teach ourselves to know what gets me aroused and then know what works for me. What brings me peace and sanity. So every young person should know. Okay, I'll give an example. Friends of yours, you see people who wants to see a lady, the first sample. Yes. Know what your mind is naturally saying okay, and start tackling that issue. Okay, for a lady, you see, I see the guy, you know, I like. Know what the problem is. Everybody has a problem, one way or the other, especially when it comes to those things. What triggers you? Then, when you know what that is, you cannot begin to number one, pray about it, read about it, and if it depends on the gravity to someone about it.
All right, that's good. Okay.
Just quickly say that boundaries are not set verbally. Boundaries are set actions. It doesn't matter how what you say. Once they shut down, you will remember, but it do not matter anymore. It will not make any sense anymore. And also, by growing up, the level of these hormones and their way they are released in the body, but at a younger age, girl can just say, who are you? A boy can even do it, in the adolescent stage. But as he grows up, she grows up, the level of these hormones start building up, start accumulating. So what do we do most of the time when we have these young people at home? We'll buy them, during my time, we buy them Mills and Boobs, right? We buy them all those romantic novels. Yes, they are okay, but cumulatively, they are creating these things. And because it has accumulated over time, even when you are in church as a single mature person, you struggle with a whole lot of things. So that is why I want to strongly encourage that when you are in a relationship, involve other people, like what has been said. It's not enough. So when you involve other people, you are trying to say, I give you permission to try to probe into what is happening to me because I don't trust myself. And at some point, I may even mess up. I want you to note and tell me, even if I react, then you are giving people in advance to probe into what is happening. And sure, even if you don't have people will observe and see what is happening. And when you are derailing, it's very possible that you might be rescued because once those things start, like as we know, and Pastor knows, when the biology sets in, theology flies out. It's irreversible. Thank you.
Yes, so Pastor, I want to throw this to you. It's a follow-up from what three of them have said. Okay, you know yourself, God has created you, the things are there. Unfortunately for us, the world where we are, indirectly we feed ourselves with pornography. Whether you like it or not, turn on a TV program, even cartoons these days, and you are not expecting that, and next thing, it pops out at you, and that is in the mind for a while. But where I'm going at now is to be practical, as 80% of us are Adventists, and we're one program or the other. And there's like you have mentioned in some of the stories, you can be a choir master and the lady is a choir mistress. You can be a youth leader, the fellow person that you're training to be a master guide. So if you are in such a situation, the boundary has been drawn. With the help of the Bible, also they are serving as reminders. And as we have been told, when biology steps in, theology takes a break to pray.
I don't really agree with that.
So yeah, that's why I'm coming to you now. So what's the response to that, and how people that find themselves in that situation, what are some other ways they can come around that?
Thank you very much. I think the Greeks will say that the first law of life is to know thyself. And then the question of knowing yourself is not just about your name and where you come from. Like other panelists have said, we need to understand our body chemistry. We need to understand what drives us. We need to understand our point of connect with the opposite sex. We also need to understand our weak points. Dr. Anoku talked about the biological, triggers. Therefore, apart from biological triggers, I'm sure you have listened to others talk about even the social. There are even the argument that our mental health can affect our sex drive. Some persons, I was talking to a lady 2 days ago, I said, hey, you're putting up with pastor stress. Some persons, once they are stressed, they put weight. So some persons, when they have mental stress, they are sexually driven. That's how it comes for them. So understand what drives you. Some persons, when they have anxiety, they think, oh, a round of sex can solve it. And if they have partners, if they are in a relationship, you see them walking toward that person, and that is what solves the problem for them. Sometimes fitness level can influence one's libido. There's a way you are fit, and that could trigger some, sex drive inside somebody. There are those who are aroused by a sense of touch, like I just asked. People are aroused by visuals. Not necessarily, Dr. Bauer mentioned something like that. When you see a lady, like a man, when you see a lady coming towards you, where does your eye go to and why? Where does your eye go to? What are you looking for? You notice that there is something that takes your attention either to the breast or to the hip or to the curve of her mouth or something else. There's a point of attraction. All of that, can move you beyond what you're thinking about. Can move you beyond that. I also think that the quality of relationship that we have will be a factor. And so you're asking me, what other things can we do? I want to say that, what do you call it now? Psalm 119, line 11 says, your word I have hidden in my heart, that I may not sin against you. I think that fundamentally, we need to know who we are and then whose we are. Whom you are can come from the psychological point of view, can come from the biological point of view, it can also come from the cultural point of view, it can come from the religious point of view.
but whose you are. If I know that I belong to God, if I know that I have a mission on earth, God has brought me here for a purpose. If I know that my body is the temple of the Holy Spirit and I'm bought with a price, you see, this is telling myself whom I am, that is beyond what I can do with myself. I don't have control over myself to do with my body what I think I should do. So when I have that consciousness of whom I am and whose I am a child of the heavenly King. I am brought into this world with them purposes. I am here on a mission. And like Joseph, some preachers will say, Joseph understood that he was not a VIS, a very important slave. He came into this world as a VIP. See, that is self-consciousness, awareness of whom you are and whose you are. And if you look at his response, he was not responding based on Potiphar's wife or Potiphar himself or even the Pharaoh. His commitment was to God. So when I understand whom I am and whose I am, the next level is to put this boundary thing into action. I will not find myself in the same room, left alone with this person that I love, that I know that by touching her, some chemistry will exchange. By trying to kiss her, theology can disappear. Do you understand? By trying to give her a hug that is more than necessary, I could fall apart. All the memory verses I have learned in my life can just evaporate overnight. You know, I'm sorry, I saw a guy this morning while I went out before coming to church, and I saw that somebody tells me, this guy is visiting this lady. And by the time I saw him, it's possible that it's past the night. By the time you are in a relationship with someone, you are not married, and it becomes a habit for you to pass a night together without accountability partners that they have mentioned. Because when they said get involved, get people involved, it is accountability partners. It may be your friend, watch my back. It may be an elder, it may be a senior person, watch my back. So if you have accountability partners, you will not break your boundaries. You don't try to say, oh, I'm a Superman, nothing will happen. Yeah, nothing might happen, but I tell you, before you learn, so many things have happened that you didn't plan for. So being intentional at every time, understanding that we are vulnerable and that we can all enter into trouble, can be other ways by which singles can stay away from trouble. Always remember, again, I will stop here, that God sees through the roof. You can't ignore God and get away with it. You cannot. I was talking with a young lady who is married, and I said, Pastor, what our parents taught us is not enough. If you want to maintain sanity in your relationship, what parents taught is not enough. Self-discipline, self-discipline to the highest order is critical. So it's not just about the theory of what they have said. Now that the action time has come, you must exercise self-restraint to the highest order. If otherwise, we follow.
Wonderful. All right.
I will add to the practical aspects. Before I engage in relationship, I took time to also read good books to prepare my mind and myself to know what to expect in a relationship and how to navigate these kind of things that we're talking about. So I want to say here too that it is advisable for our young people today to read good books. We have good authors that have written about marriage, about relationship, about love, especially from a Christian background. So it is advisable, and that can also be a guide by the time you are into a relationship. And then when you are in a relationship, you have set the boundary. Yeah, it's good to set boundary, but like what's that been said, you need to be intentional to ensure that those things you have set, that we will not do this, we will not do that, you call yourself to others. Because sir, it's possible that there's no how you can be in a relationship with someone from a distance. But you know, when you are together, even when you are in the open, there are times like what you say, the chemistry in the body, you may feel like you want to touch the person. So you need to be conscious to always call the other back, call yourself back. Oh, this is not what we said. We are sorry. So you need to do that, because if you just see that, I'm in a relationship, he's over there, I am over here, let's do it that way, I don't think that will also be of help. So because that was not what happened during my own time, because the word of God is our guide, fine. We also need to be intentional in making those rules and then following them. And then I will also drop this, that beside involving other people to be in the relationship, yes, people should be aware that you are going out with so, but if you are not yourself, you are not determined, you may have people involved, and at the end, you still find yourself falling. So it still boils down to, what is your purpose in life? What do I really want to do? What do I want to achieve? Why am I in this relationship? And when you ask yourself some certain questions, that will help you even when you are you involve other people. And another way too is that you should try to engage in activities, in hobbies that you love doing, or maybe something you are used to doing, and then all of a sudden you stop it. When you get yourself busy in those activities, get yourself busy in empowering yourself personally, and you will not have more time for all these sexual urges or activities that will come your way, because you're always occupied with those things. But when you are married, you know you have to create time for that.
So, before you, okay, I thought you were leaving that, but I just want to say that it is natural to have sexual urge. Sometimes adults don't understand this. Sometimes adults don't tell young people that, look, having sexual urge is not a taboo. It's natural thing. And so I think one of the reasons for this meeting or this discussion is to let young people know that it is okay to have sexual urge. In fact, if you don't have it, something is wrong with you. Our scientists, I'm sure I'm right. If you don't have sexual urge, something is wrong with you. So it's good to have it. When you have it, don't feel odd. But it is not at any point in time when you have the sexual urge that you want to find somebody. Tim and Beverly Lahai wrote a book titled Lovemaking in Marriage. And they said that every male, not only human, but all Homo sapiens, have a higher sex drive, sometimes 75% sex drive. And it's because they are the carriers of the seed. Okay, you carry the sperm, you release it, and then there is the production. So we have very high sex drive men. And some people have argued that, men are promiscuous. Okay, because sometimes you also see some men who cannot control themselves, with human beings behaving like the cock. The cock, the way the cock runs from one end to the other, the egoat. For human beings, it's not supposed to be like that. God has given us principles to guide our lives. So whereas this sexual urge is natural, it's a gift of God, we are indulged, we are encouraged to use it within the boundaries of which God gave it. Sex is God's gift in marriage. And those who are not married should do well to practice all that we have. Understand that the sex drive is not an offense, it's not something wrong. Okay, but when it comes, self-control is a bit of the spirit. You will try to self-control so that you continue to live your life in a way that you get to the point of marriage, and then you can enjoy it. Where you end by saying that, as we get older and older, we will get married.
Wonderful. That is, sorry, let her quickly, because as she was talking, someone asked a question online, and it's relating to what she was saying. So after that, we'll move. If I have my way, these two subtopics will be what we'll, dwell more on. The next one is very interesting, but the other ones, we can get them by quickly. Someone asks, what if you read books, but your partner doesn't believe so much in reading those relationship books? So it's one-sided. So I believe in reading the books, and I'm trying to uphold those practices, but my partner does not believe in reading those books. So how can I bridge that?
Okay, like I said, that before I began in my relationship, I personally, I didn't impose it on the person that I wanted to, or I'll give my life to, or whatever. So personally, you need to take that responsibility. Your partner may not be interested in books, but because you have that knowledge, he may also have another way of educating himself, maybe through movies. He may be good at watching. So there's also good movies that you can watch that will also teach you how to be pure in your relationship. So you don't have to impose it on your partner.
All right, so Dr. Chinedu, then, okay.
Okay, I just wanted to add that that's why Ellen White says when it comes to the issue of marriage, if you've been praying once before, you start praying twice. Because it's important that your partner also shares in your own, ideas. This morning on TV, the Hope Channel, just before the sermon, they just put some write-ups to introduce what the sermon is about. And one of it was by Bill Graham, that God gave us two hands, one to give and the other to receive. And I looked at my husband, I said, thank you, because that's what we've been doing all this while. As in, thank you, because that's my idea. And I married someone who shares that idea. So it's easier for me to do the giving and the receiving all the while. So let's intensify our prayers that God will give us people who share our own ideas. Because what if what you have read he doesn't get from the books? How do you now marry the two?
All right.
Okay, let me say, okay, my wife and I, we have different approaches to reading. She wants us to read together. I like to read alone. I process things better when I read alone. So sometimes there are conflicts. So sometimes I will rather allow her I want to read, but she wants to. But we're trying to find a middle ground. But so I don't. When I read live book, I don't process things very well. Why am I bringing that up? It is important that two of you are engaged cerebrally. I mean, you intellectually or even physically, or you have things that engage you. So if you don't necessarily have to read. If you are the reading type and your partner is not the reading type in quote, it does not mean that two of you are not compatible.
Okay.
There could be other things he is also doing, such that from your point you are able to share. See what I learned. And from some point, even if it's into other things of life, you could also engage in all those things. The most important thing is that don't get yourself boxed up to the point where you are now at the wall. You can't move anywhere again. You are trapped in an elevator where there's no light, there's no anything. Then what else should we do now? That kind of a scenario. You don't want to be in that scenario. So I also want to say quickly that if you find yourself, especially as a man, that every time point T you see a lady, you are aroused, it's a problem. There is a problem. You cannot be 100% on the drive. No. Yes, there are times. So, yeah, there are times you park. Yeah, thank you for that. But you can't be. It's a problem. You need to seek help. And that is why those times that you are rational, you are listening, it's important that these discussions go on. And it's also important that as singles who are mature, for younger ones, we can monitor them, we can try to, hey, don't go there, do this. But as adults who are single, it's better to have this frank discussion and to be able to understand each other, provided there are no ulterior motives between each of the parties involved. Thank you.
All right. As I mentioned, this topic is a very interesting one. Another comment has come online, and the question is, what can a fallen person or persons do as to renew and identity? Okay, so they're in a relationship and they have fallen to the temptation of sexual urges. Okay, we don't know the extent to which they have gone, but what can they do? Is there still hope for them to renew that relationship, or it's just pathways? So I'm not trying to anybody. Anyone that feels you have something to say on this, you can answer.
Okay, let me just quickly say that one thing is to acknowledge truly that you have fallen. Another thing is to acknowledge that you don't have the powers. You can't take yourself out of it. It's an addiction now. And so then you need to seek help. That aspect of help, if you're sincere and you pray, God is going to help guide you. That is where I want. But what happens most of the time is that, oh, we have done this. Then we do it. Oh, we have done it again. Oh, we have done it again. That kind of a thing, you're not going anywhere with that. I just want to stop there because I know
Anyone wants to say, okay.
I can say that working with young people, I have a lot of experiences, a number of them talking to me about that kind of situation. I have also had to counsel so many who by the time they came to me, they had gone down in getting sexually involved. Like Dr. Noko said, the first point of call is to acknowledge the fact that this is not right. Okay, for me, as a marriage counselor, I tell prospective couples and singles that you can't lay the foundation of a lifetime relationship on a faulty ground. It will crash. Remember again, I have said before, Galatians 6:7. No one can ignore God and get away with it. Whatever you sow, you will reap. If God is holy and marriage is holy, then stop messing around with each other if truly you want to get married. You can't say you want to, especially for those who are dreaming holy matrimony. You are already sleeping with each other and then you come to the altar. You're deceiving yourself. You can try to be smart, but the point is that you can't, when the issues begin to arise much later in your marriage, you ask yourself, how did we get it? What happened? Then you begin to look for the reasons for the problem outside of yourself, when the truth thing is that you have actually plunged yourself into a big crisis. So what do? Begin, that is why, you know, where we started, and set boundaries. It can be painful. Acknowledge that you are wrong. Okay? Acknowledge your helplessness. John chapter 15, verse 5. Jesus says, I'm the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me and I in him bears much fruit, for without me you can do nothing. So we must acknowledge our helplessness. And then we acknowledge that only God can help us. And so we run to him. But let me say that this acknowledgement and confession of sin, repentance, is not a quick fix. It doesn't happen overnight. Because, look, you'll be attracted to each other. Sometimes people don't understand the fact that when we get deeply emotionally attached, okay, it goes way, way in. That is why emotional attachment is deeper than just physical. Somebody can have a round of sex with somebody without emotional attachment. But when you are emotionally attached with somebody, it can take a long time before it is, reversed. So begin the reversal process. Understand that it's not going to be one time. So in the course of trying to walk away, you may even do it again. Don't get discouraged. Keep moving forward. By the time you cut off the number of times you meet together, you begin to, the thing to do is to stop being together alone. Stop seeing each other in the dark. Get accountability partners like we have discussed. Remember that those fornicators and adulterers, God will punish. So tell yourself, it is not worth, attracting God's punishment. It's Pipim wrote a book and he said, his book titled, This is Love. He said, it is not love when it dishonors God. It is not love when it doesn't have respect for the commandment. It is not love when it doesn't care about the future. It's not love when it is leading you astray. So let us understand what truly love is. It is not love when it indulges you in sexual immorality. It's not love. It's not love when it cuts you off from the favor of God. It is not love when whatever you are doing with the other person is digging a grave for your marriage. So let's rehearse and understand the things that could actually become, what do you call it, a pitfall and a basis for destruction in the future. I'm sure that all of that can help.
All right.
I just want to add that we, in addition to all this, let's go back to the drawing board. Okay. without being judgmental, I just want to say, what is the sincerity of both of you in terms of your agreements as Christians dating or engaged? What's the level of your sincerity? There's a need to question that. The devil is not sleeping. There are so many wolves in sheep clothing. So question the sincerity of both of you. Do we actually share the same idea, mindset? Because it could just be a case of one person capitalizing on the weakness of the other. And then, if possible, talk about your pasts. Okay, it may be good to, it will be good to know your pasts, because to get to that point, something must have gone wrong somewhere. First of all, are we really sincere? Are we really driving towards the same thing? Do we really have the same goal in this relationship? What's my past? What's his past? That will determine the tendency of falling again. Even as much as I believe in get back up again, get back on your feet. Don't give up. As long as you desire, you want a good end for the both of you. It doesn't call the whole engagement off or whatever. But question your sincerity, go back to the drawing board and check, where are we coming from? Why? If I know where I'm coming from, I know my problem. You know where you're coming from, you know your problem. Then we can avoid a repetition in the future. But if we don't go back to redress those issues, we'll just feel bad for 1 hour. And by the next hour, we are down again. Then we feel bad again, and we are down again because nothing has been done about it.
Thank you very much. Some of these questions have done justice to some of the questions we are getting online and what I have here. But let's take this a step further. Okay. It's already sure that we're getting married. In fact, as a matter of fact, we have met Pastor Dixon and he has given us the first counsel to check if we're compatible, and we have passed that one. So we look at ourselves and say, we are good to go. Our parents know each other. At home, there's no, you can't marry this, you can't marry that. Everything is sealed. So what you're just looking for now is wedding dates, wedding hall, money, and all those things. You have done a relationship, you have abstained and everything. But now you're like, we're at the finish line, almost at the finish line. So there's nothing left to lose anymore. So at that point, since you already know you're getting married, can you now take a little and say, let's try and see what's under the hood?
If I pass the mic, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. 2 hours before is not the same as the right time. And I remember discussions with someone in the past who said I have not had a personal encounter, but he has seen people who called off the wedding in nights before. So many things can go wrong. We know of people who even died. You live with that guilt forever. We know people whose spouse to be died some few periods, time before the wedding. It happened to me. You live with that forever, knowing that you didn't wait till the end.
Okay.
You have endured all this while. By the time you get married, what will you be doing? You have the liberty to do it at any time you want, and as long as you both live on earth. So why now the impatient? So I will say to such a person that it's not over until it is over. So let them keep on waiting until the time it will be sealed and officially given to them to engage in sex.
I would say that the intensity actually, the urge actually increases as the time gets closer. So once you know that that is the case, then it helps you to prepare even more for that. But if you are casual, you can get yourself caught. And remember that the devil is also not sleeping. There are so many uncertainties. So and let me also say, there may not be any repercussion for that. But what it might be telling you in the future is that you may likely find yourself in almost breaking away from something before it is mature. It may not be sex, it may be something else. So there are so many other things that may be attached to it, which you may just think is just about that. So let us take note that there's always an increase of intensity, because even if you have been far away, most times when it's wedding time or whatever, there are chances coming together because you have to plan this, you have to do this, you have to do so many other things. So the intensity is there. So it should not be by surprise that you feel that way. But like she has said, if through God's grace, one can still endure to the end. Thank you.
So before Pastor goes, so that includes after traditional marriage also.
That's actually where I'm coming from. You know, I have had to deal with a lot, you know, in relating with young people. Pastor, what is wrong? We have done traditional marriage. We are married. We have been joined traditionally. So what's the problem? And I said, there's no problem. You are the problem. You are the problem. Once you have had your traditional marriage, you are married. But you said you want to have church wedding. You are not that dismarried yourself. Because on the day of wedding, you return to the altar as singles. So because you want to have a church wedding, you wait until that is over. I'll keep saying that, not waiting. You know, somebody had a moral fall and he said, I waited, but I did not wait enough. You can wait, but not waiting enough is to fall before the finishing line. That somebody was running 100 meters or 200 meters or long race and you run just before the finishing line, you fall. You didn't finish. You didn't finish. And no prize comes to you because you didn't cross the line. So the fact that you are married traditionally is okay, you are married. If that is all that you wanted, then end there. But if you want to have a church wedding, then you have to wait until that day. And you ask me why. And I say that the veil that the bride wears on the wedding day signifies purity. You don't wear it if you're not pure. Now, the days of ignorance, God overlooked. But when you understand that, look, this is not good, and of course, that's why it's important for those who want to get married to actually engage in premarital counseling. And for me as a pastor, I am coming up with that very soon to say that sometimes as a church, our emphasis is misplaced. Okay, as I travel around the country joining couples, I see that our emphasis is on pregnancy test. You know, doc, we say, is she pregnant? So on Thursday before the wedding or Saturday afternoon before Sunday, she will go and take pregnancy test, and that is the validity. For me, what we need is not pregnancy test. What we need is fidelity test. Young people should pursue fidelity tests. It is you and God. You can deceive the church, you can deceive your parents, you can deceive your pastor, but nobody can deceive God. Let us understand that marriage is a lifetime business. It's a lifetime business, and we need to, you know, understand that we are walking this road with God on our side. I have seen marriages crash. I have seen people who were in love all over each other, and all of a sudden they become arch enemies. And when you trace it, you discover that some of them, the foundation of the marriage was faulty. You can't give what you don't have. So wait until the end. And if you cannot wait, call off the wedding and take your wife home. Nobody will be annoyed. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's serious. People online have something to say. Okay, and this person is quoting Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 7, verse 9, where Paul advises that people burning with passion should get married. Is this a ground to get married quickly rather than be immoral?
If not, what are the possibilities since the world and the things around us don't help? This is the reality. So if I'm trying to understand what that person is saying, they want to quickly get married so that they don't.
First of all, they are burning.
Yes. So because of that chemical reaction that is happening in the brain and other parts, they want to, quickly get that done with, get married and other things. So what does anyone have to say?
Okay, let me start. So, biologically, God has set things in motion. Let's not forget that. Your biological clock will not wait for you. It moves as God has instructed it from Eden. Now, God has made us such that He wants us to. There are so many reasons why some people will not get married and so on. That is not the issue. But now, your life is moving on, and you are just there. You're just not in far of relationship and so on. They are just maybe you're not even interested in the relationship. Then all of a sudden you are having this rush. The truth of the matter is that if because you are burning, you will now quickly go and get married. I can tell you, okay, I won't say what I wanted to say. Before I misquote, I can tell you that once you get married and you now pour all those passion, all those anger, you stop burning, your eyes will clear, and you will revert to zero again, and you start to what happened? Why did I get into this? And that is why if we follow God's plan, and if God guides us to the point where He is one that created these things, and He knows how to guide us in all of this. But sometimes what happens is that we ignore every other thing, we go our ways, then all of a sudden we want a fix on something. As a result of that, we get done. So that is not a fix. It will never fix. It has never. That was what I want to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I wanted to say that's why we talk about the spirit control temperament. Okay.
Okay.
You cannot allow the burning sensation take over the brain. Okay, constrained by economic factors and other factors. So you cannot. It means, like you said, you go in, because that is what you want, and then how are we certain that you will end up with the right person at the right time and every other thing? So I think the problem is not that there's no money to get married at all, or the rest of them. The problem is that, are you going to be controlled by the chemical, or you are going to control the chemical and the spirit of God? So don't let the burning drive you, please.
Okay, for me, I will say that you need to first of all ask yourself, what causes this burning? That is, if you have a constant burning, and at least our doctor have told us that it's even out of a place that as a guy or as a lady, you are constantly having these sexual urges, you need to seek help. So you ask yourself, what is that thing that I am doing? Or what are those things that, like I said before, that triggers this sexual burning in me? And now I want to hurriedly get married so that I can pour. And after everything, is that all? And then you begin to ask yourself questions again. So you need to first check yourself. And then you connect with the one who has given you that desire, because it's natural. Connect with him, and that is connecting with God, because he said that he will not give us, or God is so faithful not to lead us into temptation that is beyond our capacity. And so if there is a temptation that is coming, he also promised to give us a way of escape, and that is in 2 Corinthians chapter 10. So you need to connect with the one who has given you that sexual ability, and then ask him for grace. Because if you, because of sexual urges, rush into marriage, you have to know that that is not the only thing marriage entails.
There are other responsibilities, there are other things that you need to prepare yourself for. And marriage is not about sex and sex alone. So that is what I have to say.
She has connected the part that's important. Marriage is not all about sex. In fact, this word, I wish we traveled ahead and return back to start afresh. I think this kind of setting is important. Also, when we are talking about the word of men, say, look, the one reality that men face is that your sex drive will fall. Okay, your manhood will get tired, and your wife one day will touch it, get up, and it's not getting up. That is a reality that every man will face someday in life. It will come. So the question is, what was it about this place as an adolescent? What is it great? Breast is all man, I want to have sex, one stand, in the toilet, on the street, in the gutter, and then all of a sudden, the time comes when you see the thing and you cannot move again. So I think looking into the future and understanding is important. Then I would say, Dr. Bauer started that discussion. God, in his infinite wisdom, placed our organs appropriately. He put the human brain all above and over all other organs. And it's for the purpose of regulation. What my eye sees, my brain will process before my mouth will talk. What my ear hears, my brain will process before my mouth will talk. So if what my eye sees, my brain will process before my mouth will begin to react or my leg moves. So if I allow my manhood to overrule my brain, it is not me that has problem. If I allow my legs to overrule my brain, because sometimes we go to places where we're not supposed to go, it means that my brain has processed it negative, but I still kept moving. So we need to do that. And if you look at a simple car, a car has three important parts. For those of us who use automatic today, a car has three important parts, maybe four that are important: the steering, the accelerator, the brake, and the mirror. Very important. You see, God gave the accelerator. God also gave the brake. So you know when to fire, know when to brake. So if my life is just about accelerator, no brake, then something is wrong. I'll get crashed in a short time. So let's understand that when Leviticus 19 verse 1 says, "Be ye holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy," God has given every one of us the capacity to exercise holiness and restrain from evil. God has given you and I the capacity. Otherwise, places like Malachi chapter 6 verse 8 wouldn't have said, "He has shown you, oh man, what is good. What does the Lord require? That you practice justice, mercy, and walk humbly with your God." I'm just saying that the image of God that is in us includes living according to his way. For that reason, those who are burning should get self-control. It's a fruit of the spirit. Don't get married to satisfy your sexual curiosity. After you have satisfied it, and then the reality of marriage dawns on you, you will find someone else outside that will keep satisfying your sexual curiosity. And before you know it, you'll be like that man who married 52 times. Man who married not 52 wives, 52 times. He married, divorced, and he married 52 times. But on the day of his funeral, only one son attended, no wife. Thank you.
All right, so to end this topic, as I said, that many people have too much issues with, and there's no opportunity for them to have such outcome as this. So something that people like to find out that we have checked our ways, and we know that sexual relationship, that having sex should be saved for marriage. So now we are in relationship phase,
Is it acceptable to show physical affection, like physical contact, hugging, kissing? What are the acceptable ways? Is kissing also still, should kissing be saved till wedding also? Or I mean, they can practice that hugging, and what other way can they show affection? So anyone that wants to.
Okay. When I, like I said, before I started my relationship, I read some books, and then we have the rules that leads to the action proper. No, I was told by the time somebody say me, hello, how are you? How are you doing? I like you. Tomorrow, oh, how are you? How are you doing? Next time, it will be to go over and over and over. It is good for you as a lady to take responsibility of yourself and of your actions. Why I am specifically speaking to the ladies, because we are like more vulnerable, and at the end of the day, we carry more of the feeling of guilt to ourselves. So kissing and hugging and other aspects of sexual activities are not the major things, are not the things that you can do to show how much you love the person, and your feeling of to show give your appreciation that I truly love you, or to show affection to that person. You may even engage in all those things, whereas there is no true genuine love from there. So you can affirm your love and affection by having time to listen to the person, to give gifts to the person, and it's also good for you to hug. But when you hug someone, just like you can hug your mom, your dad, your siblings, when you begin to see that this is leading to somewhere, there is need for you to take caution. But if you just say, oh, there's nothing like hugging, we may say as if we are going, as if we are not living in this world. But even in your hugging, just know that there is a limit to where you will go. And then when you see that, even if you see, when you not discover that hugging can, it's not comfortable for you because it triggers your sexual urge, then there is need for you to discuss it with your partner and say, this is what I feel each time I hug you. And even when I try to resist it, I always feel the tendency to move a step forward. What can we do? And there should be an agreement. And like what our sister has said, if both of you have the same mission and focus and purpose, I don't think telling your partner your feelings and looking for a way out will cause a problem, except you are not having the same goal in mind.
All right. I just want to say everybody is different. Okay. And the like she said, the level at which we may take any of this, whether it's the kissing or the hugging definition, will differ from persons to persons. Okay. So I want to say it still goes back to the basics. Know yourself. Okay. Know yourself. A light hug may slay somebody when the other person just hugged and passed and went his way. So I think she's answered it basically: communication, know yourself, and be certain. Okay, when you know yourself, you know whether you should bring in the hug at all, or the peck at all, or the kissing at all, or we should just do the you can talk to each other through the Bible.
All right.
I would say that I'm not sure. We are not saying there shouldn't be a physical affirmation of one's love for the other person. That is not the issue. So, like all those things mentioned are not the problem. The problem, like I've been saying, is whatever activity, action. Sometimes you don't necessarily have to even put somebody physical or whatever to activate each other, and you go and sort yourself however you want to sort yourself. But the point is that you don't want to be in a situation that will make you go down to the point where you start having sex and so on. So whatever it is, however it is, based on what we have said earlier on, it is important to be able to understand this so that you and your partner, provided you have the same objective, your same goal, are able to walk through that together. I think that should help.
Thank you. I like what Dr. Nakuru said because connecting it with the first speaker, Gary Chapman in his book, 5 Love Languages, introduced the 5 basic love languages. In my researches, I have added 2 to it. But focusing on his love language, he mentioned words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, receiving gifts, and the other one is quality time. Now, each of us is connected differently. Dr. Bauer mentioned that if your love language is quality time, during that quality time, you are enjoying the other person. It could lead you into something more. So keep a boundary. That's why we started this discussion by keeping a boundary. If your love language is physical touch, maybe some of us physical touch as in giving, others physical touch as in receiving. There are certain parts of the body, you're a scientist, there's part of the body you don't touch. If you touch, it electrifies. I don't know how many women you touch their breasts and there will not be a chemical response. I don't know how many men you touch their manhood and they will not wake up, especially in the context of an intimate relationship. That is also the reason why if there is no intimate relationship and you touch people on that side, they feel offended because that's a boundary area. So until you get married, don't go there. That's what I want to say. Don't go there. There's a way you feel the body of a lady or a guy. He wakes or she wakes up. So if you know that naturally that's what happens, especially in an atmosphere where your guards are already down, because when you are emotionally involved with somebody, your guards are down. You can talk, you can gist, you have lowered your guard. So when your guards are down, be careful with what you do with each other, because just in a moment, like you said, biology will set in, and that's when theology eventually disappears. Because before theology disappears, the brain is already compromised. So let's be careful to keep boundaries. Know yourself. The fact of knowing oneself is so complex. Know your love language, what turns you up. And if you know what turns you up, tell the other person, this is what you do to me, and I will lose control. So don't do this to me while we are waiting. If you do this to me, I might not be able to manage myself anymore. Okay, so that you can cross the finishing line. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Wow. So this next segment now, we are looking at feeling towards the opposite sex. So this one, we can just respond to a question once and then we'll move forward because this is not as critical as the first one. So I think let me ask one of the women here, how can singles differentiate between infatuation and genuine feeling of love?
So differentiate between infatuation and genuine feeling. For a lady to differentiate, for me,
okay,
let me use myself as an example. When I was still a single and I could have used the word searching, when a guy approached me and then begin to make promises, like one came, I'm going to be giving you house allowances, children, child allowances, this and that. For me as an individual, I don't believe in words. I don't believe in words of guys because they want to get something, they must use sweet words. So I try to analyze the words that they speak to me, and from there I'll be able to know that this is not a genuine love, because the brain is there to think. I put one or two things together And I see that he's coming to me is because I want to get something. And so when I say no at a point and I give 1 or 2 reasons and I watch his actions, I see that he's now relenting going back, then I know that he was not really coming for the actual thing. That is 1. 2, when a guy comes to me when I was single, I'm just using my experience, and then the first things that he wants to do is to begin to touch. And when you are talking, you're coming to touch me to or want to make me arouse my the emotions and the sexual, all this. This is not love, because love is patient, love is kind. And so when I see that that is what this guy is after, then I know that this is not love. And like we said, marriage relationship is not built by sex alone. And that is one way I differentiate between infatuation and love. Let me pause.
All right. You want to say something?
I think she said.
All right. So let's move. So everyone says marry your friend, marry your friend, marry your friend. So what exactly does that phrase mean? Is it that what you see someone you want to, have a marriage towards, you have to be friends with the person first, and play the friendship card for a while. After you feel like you're not friends, you can now throw the relationship card, or can someone just help us explain that marry your friend phrase?
All right. So when you are in a relationship, most of the time, actually the relationship is a mixture of so many things. In the context of what we're talking about, the infatuation is there, but it's not just. So it's a complex situation. However, it is true that by the time you get married, if everything is just about the passion, the sex, and so on, it naturally drops. Then if there's nothing else holding that relationship, there is a problem. You don't communicate well. There's nothing else that bonds the two of you than just 2 naked bodies in the bed. There's a problem. So that's where the phrase comes. When you are going to interact with someone, before you get married to somebody, you should know who the person is, at least at a level. You should be able to say, oh, he likes or she likes this. He's when you touch him, he's angry. You should be able to, and that is what friendship is. It doesn't mean that you have to marry your that friend you had from high school and you are friends with. It doesn't have to be that. But you have to marry someone that you know, because at the end of the day, what keeps marriage going is actually friendship. Love can push you. I'm saying this, although you can beat it here and there. You will love somebody, I love you, I love you. It can help you get, but moving forward, there are so many other things that will come in which friendship will help you to keep at the end of the day. So that is very true. But it doesn't mean that it has to be someone you have been friends with for ages, then you have to. And even if you decide to say you want to play a card of friendship, what if the person still does not see you from that point, sees you from a friend only? Then you now play the love card and the person now reacts, and then you now get disappointed and becomes, yeah. So it doesn't have to be friend first before. You can love somebody, but you should know the person. And that is the friendship aspect.
Okay.
You can love somebody, but know the person. That is friendship. Cultivate intimacy before commitment. When I teach love language, I take it from the triangle point of view. Okay, the triangle has 3 sides. Kovac says the left-hand side is passion, driven by feelings, love at first sight. Oh, I love her figure. Oh, I like, okay, we don't usually start with love. I like the way he talks. I like the way she looks. I like the way he dresses. Oh, I like how lanky she is. I like this because growing up,
there are things we have formed in our heads. I want to marry this kind of person. I want to marry somebody who is fair. I want to marry somebody who has pointed nose. I want to marry somebody who has round bobs. I want to marry, you know. So the first point of contact is that point of attraction. And it's most times driven by feelings and passion. But it says, to your passion and feelings, cultivate intimacy. So cross over to the other side, because feelings will disappear. When reality dawns, feelings will evaporate. So move into the other side. Friendship. Know the person. What are the values? What are the compatibility? You know, do your compatibility checks. It's not only resource factor. It's not only genotype. Check your temperament. Check your love language. Check your values. Check your faith. Check all those things. That is when you are doing that. And it is not done by proxy. It is not done by proxy. You have to get involved with the person. You have to find time to talk very well, do activities together. The fact that we are saying here, be careful, draw your boundary, does not mean you have to do activities together, because I want to check how he treats his mother, how she treats the father, how he treats the gate man at home, how he treats the commoners. Because let me tell you, I will say it, a lady that does not respect her father will not respect you as a man. A guy who does not respect his mother will not respect you. Forget it. It's only a matter of time. It is only because something is fundamentally wrong with that individual. So getting close will help you to do that. And that is why it's important that before you say, will you marry me, get family approval. I discussed that some weeks ago. Don't just do your thing in your corner and then you come and tell your parents, I found somebody I want to marry. You're going ahead. You're on a risk. Get involved with family, get to know who they are, do activities together, go out together, study the Bible together. By the time you get, friendship is about getting used to each other, getting used to doing things together, getting to know the other person. Then the base of the triangle is commitment. Then you can now say yes, because you are committing to what you know. You're not committing to what you don't know. Somebody said, commitment without intimacy is like giving a fresh egg to a 2-year-old to keep for you while you go and come. And that's the reason why many people tell you, he broke my heart. Because you gave it to the wrong person. When you give your heart to somebody who doesn't have value for it, what will happen? You'll break it. So don't give your heart to a stranger. And if you don't want to give your heart to a stranger, then establish friendship, get intimated with the person. Don't be scared. Some people are scared. Some people get scared of getting involved in relationship because Nollywood, Hollywood have shown us that dating is the first day we met each other, we end up bed. Those are wrong signals that send around. No, you have to get involved with somebody, but keep your boundaries. Define them, get involved positively, because when love, whatever we call love, eventually fails or suffers setback in marriage, friendship will keep you moving. Thank you.
Okay, getting married to a friend can also mean, to me, getting married to someone you are free to communicate to at any time. Just as we have God as our friend, I can talk to God the way I just want to pour my heart with. If I want to speak pidgin language to him, if I want to crawl on the floor, it does not look down on me. So getting married to a friend involves getting married to someone you will be free with, not someone that when you are with the person, you can't shift yourself. You are afraid of how you want to talk. You have to twist your mouth somehow. No, it means, like I have a friend who was always talking about, I want a husband. And yes, she got married, she had a husband, but now she says she's not free to talk with the man. You want to talk, you are calculating. How will I play with my husband? How will I know? Please, for young people out there, get married to someone you can play with, you can communicate, that understands you and you understand the person. And that to me is, you are marrying a friend, because your friend will always want to bring out the best in you. And such a person, you begin to make that person, your partner should be your best friend. bringing out the best in you, even when you think you are having things that you think you are not good at. You see your friend encouraging you that you can do it because you have a friend as your partner.
All right, thank you. I want to ask this question to Dr. Bauer. So, you have feelings for two people, young people. You have seen maybe two guys. I like this one. He's a choir master. Fantastic. This one likes Sabbath too. I like this one too. This one comes and asks you out. That is the choir master. You accept. The other one asks you out. You accept. But your goal is you want to be in a relationship to weigh which one of them will actually be the best match for me. So Pastor Dixon is smiling. So after that, we'll hear why Pastor Dixon is smiling.
Okay, you are asking if that is what I
Yes,
should do.
if that is, if that is
advisable. Well,
advisable.
that's a very lame card to play. I believe one thing, okay, that God will give you the best. Okay? God may intentionally delay the one who is not for you from coming to you, or God will intentionally end the one that is with you because he knew or he knows that that is not the person for you. So don't try the double card. It never ends well. Okay, it's not a trial and error thing, it's a faith thing, it's a trust thing. So if you're not sure and you have two people you like and you're not sure and the both of them approach you, then I will say, wait. That's what I will say. If there are two, you like them equally. This one meets this need, this one meets that need. It happens. Okay, those are some of the things young people go through. You actually see people who, as a young person, before I finally, settle down, there were guys on a good day, you sample them, you know that if this guy should open his mouth, I will say yes. You should be able to know, like what she was saying, how do you know what's love, what's infatuation? For me, it starts from the sense, the level of sense. If the sense level, the thinking level is always going in the wrong direction, that's why I said what she said was enough. Touching or thinking about things that not, that person is not,
DBS that you are going to
if you have two people who love you, two people coming to you at the same time,
Bible study there too.
don't play the double card game. It never ends well. I will advise you to wait.
Yeah, Pastor was smiling. Dr. Anoko, do you also have something to say?
Double dating is dangerous.
Okay.
It's dangerous. I was smiling because as a younger boy, after secondary school, what guys would do. I remember, befriending two sisters, the same parents.
Wonderful.
That was why I was smiling. Very stupid me, very stupid. Just,
Very stupid you.
you know what guys do? I'll talk to that guy and watch me. I'm going to talk to that girl and she will give in. We used to play with girls, and that's why I like what Ms. Harris said. Ladies should be protective of themselves because younger guys want to play. For us, it's fun in fact, I'm going to win that girl. Our friends are in the room watching us as we go to talk. In those days, you still want to talk to her, and then they are watching. When you succeed, you come back to the room and celebrate. Everybody celebrates with you. You're a big guy. Rubbish. So, at the point in time when somebody had decided to get married, it's important to make a list of your negotiables and non-negotiables. Sometimes two people can fall into that trap. I have told my story online I've told it to several young people. I was involved with two people. By the time I was ready to get married, my wife that I'm living with today, we had a relationship, long time, courtship, but we had a fight. Was it a fight? Well, I told her I was going to get married at 25, and I was serious about that. But when I was 23, my dad died. And at that point, nothing was happening. Nobody was seriously doing anything. And I said, babe, I can't get married in the next 2 years because my father has died, the breadwinner, and nothing is going on here. We have to work to see how to survive 7 children and my mother. And at that time, I was the only person doing something serious. But when you make a promise to a woman, you have to keep it. A promise to a woman is a promise to a child. If you don't keep it, you are in trouble. So it didn't get across very well.
So she wasn't happy. I said, okay, if you cannot understand it, you can go and marry somebody else. I'm done with this. So we parted for 3 years. At that time, in between, a lady showed up in my life. I never asked her out, but there was a void. I was getting ready to get married. She showed up and we became intimate. But somehow, this my wife, I punished that woman very seriously. I have tried to make appeasement over and over. She would come to my shop, then I was a chemist, and sit down from morning to evening. The discussion is good morning, morning. I'm going, goodbye. I won't talk to her. She will stay and I won't say a word. 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. Because I said, well, since you don't want to wait, go and marry somebody else. So what are you coming here to do? So sometime in December 1997, although my dad died at my 25th year, I still wanted to get married. Things got better for me. I was able to settle a few things. I want to get married. I told God, I have these 2 people. What should I do? I would say that my wife now, we were not dating because for me, I had crossed it. I won't marry you. And I was serious about it. I had told her, auntie, please help me tell her I won't marry her. But something inside me wanted to be sure that I'm not on the wrong track. So I told this other lady, please, I need a break. I need to pray to God to show me direction so that I don't make mistake. She too got offended, like what Mrs. Ekane said. She got offended, called me heartbreaker, and walked away. So for about 6 months, I was left alone. I told 2 of them, I don't want to see anybody around me. Please just leave me. By the 7th month, I saw this other second lady because my prayer was simple. Lord, I don't know what you want, but whichever one that you want me to marry, make it obvious. At this point, I'm confused. I am lost, but I know you're in charge of my life. So when I saw that lady 7 months later, I saw her with pregnancy. She was pregnant. My prayer was make it obvious. So seeing her with pregnancy, meant that I can't marry a pregnant woman. That was how I returned to this woman I'm married to. That's how. I just went back to her. Up to today, we have not discussed what happened. 24 years is gone. We have not discussed that matter. I called her, I said, okay, come to my house. She came, let's move forward. And then the next thing was to plan wedding. So it's a difficult thing. Sometimes it is not, it doesn't come from the perspective of one way direction. It could be different folks or different strokes for different folks. But whatever circumstance you find yourself, always remember that when you return back to God to ask, He will help you. I'm grateful to God that I put Him first, because I didn't mention that the other lady that if I did not marry eventually, what happened was that she eventually left Port Harcourt and went to Abuja. And she returned to Port Harcourt that December. She told the parents she was going to come back on the 21st of December, but she arrived earlier, 3 days ahead to Port Harcourt and came straight to my house. So for 3 nights, she stayed in my house. We slept on the same bed. But you see, because I was praying to God before she came, I didn't even realize that somebody was sleeping with me in my bed. And thank God I did not, because eventually what I realized was that she came back with pregnancy. She didn't love the person who impregnated her. She loved me. So it was just finding a way to get me entangled with that. So if I had given in, had sex with her, I wouldn't have escaped. But because we didn't have sex, so when I saw her the next 7 months, I could look up to God and say, thank you for saving me. And that's why I married my wife.
All right, Dr. Bauer, while you were speaking, someone online said, wait, how, please?
Well, somehow in pastor's story, the answers can be seen. Wait, because you can't take the two. God will naturally fix it. I started on that note. God knows the best for you. He will naturally fix it. One will drop or both will drop, and you discover it wasn't even any of them. Waiting is difficult, but wait.
All right. Okay.
I think it's also good that young people tell God exactly what they want and the time they want it. It is this God to decide whether that works or not. Because God, especially when you have when you're sincere about it, there's nothing wrong in saying, God, please, I want to get married by so time, because I feel that as a young man, I may not be able to put myself or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. And once you tell God, this is what I want, God start putting things in motion, just as the devil will also start reacting to that. What the waiting is, okay, let's look at the scenario, that scenario specifically. So the choir master comes first and asks you out. The truth of the matter is that, okay, what I don't know about the scenario is that you like both of them.
Yes.
So you like both of them. You don't tell the choir master, okay, here am I, please take me. Because you are the one. So there is an option. You can still go back to God. God, I still like the Sabbath school superintendent. Out of these two, please help me. Help me out. Time has a way of dealing with issues. And God will tell you clearly, if either of them or none of them, it won't be confusing, it will be clear. But just wait and you'll see God in action.
Okay. A live question from one of our people here says, sometimes you like a lady's personality, but do not feel this special physical attraction. Wonderful. But there is one particular lady that when you are close to her, you feel attracted. Who should you go for? Well, this is dicey.
Yeah. Okay. The truth of the matter for younger ladies is that the not too serious human being throws you off your feet faster and easier than the straight guy. Okay? So that's why I talk about this thing. Okay, you have to be able to reason. Okay, you have to be able to reason. We've established here that the whole love thing, the whole chemistry thing, the whole everything dies after some time. The not too physically attractive. Okay, what do you want from life? What do you want from this relationship? What are your dreams and expectations for your children? It's going to take the two of you to produce, Okay, so will you, if the one who is very attractive doesn't have what you need, because when the chips are down, it's not the beauty that will keep the wedding or the marriage going, it's the person. So I will say as much as physical attraction must be considered. If it comes to that point where you have to choose between the two, choose rightly. The physical attraction, we've seen people, one of my in-laws, her husband is burnt. He's burnt, as in burnt. Okay, their child is in this school. What did you call it? Physical what? Come again? You said? All that is gone now, it's gone.
Wonderful.
And then a lady was just discharged from Boots some months ago. Physical attraction, she can't walk very well anymore. What did you say you wanted from her? Please.
I'm just a messenger. All right. Okay.
I just want to say, so it's for a man, it is important to marry someone that you have physical attraction, someone that physical attracts, or you have that physical attraction is very important. But it doesn't end there. Like when you now have to start choosing between two individuals, it means that there is conflict of interest. You have interest. Let me just say that it's very difficult to find everything you're looking for in one person. It's very important. But you need to also be able to put your values to the table. For example, for me, growing up, one thing is that if we are not a Seventh-day Adventist, you don't have the same philosophy. It doesn't matter how beautiful, whatever you are, it's a no-no for me. So it's non-negotiable. It doesn't matter what. So, and I was not even looking in that direction anyway, even not as if they did not come. So there are other things that you have presented before God, even if your request is selfish. God, even if you say, this is exactly the person I want you to be like the table leaf. Don't be afraid to tell God, this is exactly what I want. If you are sincere about it, God can help you refine and start making you see other things that are important that you are not looking at, that you should be looking at. So in all, trust God enough to guide you. But it's important that you allow, but God is not going to make you go out with marry someone that you detest, you don't like, or whatever. God will, except for other reasons, you go ahead with that. God will always guide you in the right direction, but you need to allow him to do that. One of the reasons why people are going, okay, now, so what do I do? I like this one, I like this one, I like this other. Yeah, okay, I choose this one. No, it doesn't. You need to calm down and you need to allow God to help you through that process.
All right. Okay. Time is not. All right.
Okay, quickly, I want to say here that it's not the attraction may not always be physical. You have, according to the question, there's a lady who has qualities that you like, but you are not, you don't feel moved each time the lady is close to you. But there's one that has that that doesn't have those qualities, but you feel moved. So it goes beyond the physical. So that's what I would say, that in such situation, you need to ask yourself, why do I always have this? Why do I feel that I want this lady? What is that thing that inner, because this one now is like an inner attraction that you are having towards that lady, then you need to understand that. Fine, it is good for us to say, God, this is what I want from a man as a woman, or this is what I want for a woman as a man. But I always ask myself, and I also like telling people what, as you are expecting that you are praying that God, this is what I'm looking for a man, to show that this is the one that you have assigned for me. Ask yourself, those things I'm looking for, do I also have them? Or is that man also looking for that thing in me? So when you have that in your mind, then you will know that it is not just the list that you have. You also need to know that there is a role you need to play, and that marriage is the two coming together, filling those gaps that I don't have and he don't have. So when you know that, it will help you to know that even the qualities they are looking for, the person doesn't have up to that 5. Out of 5, you have like 3 or so. It means that you need to do the work of putting the other 2, bringing out those things that you want for that you've listed in that person that you are going after. So please, let us be conscious of ourselves. We have been emphasizing it. Self-awareness is very, very important. Who are you? What do you want in life? Your goal, your purpose, and why God has created you. When you have this in your mind guiding you, then you will not be quick to allow your flesh to determine who you want to marry, but rather you allow God to be the pilot of that.
All right. There are a lot of questions online. So the questions are boiling down to age differences and waiting and time moving here and there. So in a situation, one is ready to marry, but non-Adventists keep popping up and asking you to leave Adventists, and they aren't ready to hear what the Bible has to say about Sabbath. While waiting, age is not on a lady's side, and no Adventists yet. What does the person do? What do you advise in a situation where you have been waiting, but the people that are coming are not Adventists, and those that are not Adventists have been trying to speak to them about the faith, but they are not giving you room, and time is going, they are aging. What
should one do? I think let me one of the ladies can answer, but since this person is buttressing from the point of view of the lady.
I will say that the lady should wait because I have seen, let me say, more than 2 instances. Age, yes, age is a factor, but when God is in it, when you are waiting faithfully, you will never be disappointed. There's a woman, when I was still young at the Delta State, she was over the age of marriage and even childbearing, according to the scientific calculation. But she was the only Adventist in her family. And because of that, her parents had even disowned her because men are coming, different kinds and shades of men. But she said she wants to get married to an Adventist. All her younger ones have gotten married. But when the right person came for her, even when she was, she has passed the age of childbearing, when she got married, God blessed her. The first time she conceived twins, a boy and a girl, and she's there. And we also have another instance here at Babcock University. So age is just a number, my dear. If God says that, my daughter, I am preparing you for something better, don't rush, because marriage is not the end of life. You may end up marrying, at the end of the day, you mar your salvation. When you know that we are not just living on earth alone. We have our goal, and our ultimate goal is to make heaven. If I told myself when I was getting married, that's why I did not marry somebody that came to me. It was just rushing. I want us to get married. I said, please calm down. Let's study ourselves a little. The next thing I saw was a marriage invitation, getting married to somebody else. I told myself, my dad called me, this person you brought to my house has sent me a message of I told my dad, don't worry, me, I'm not marriage freak. If I will get married, I will get married to the right person. If I will not be married, God knows that I will not be married, and He will prepare me, because heaven is the ultimate goal, my dear. All these ones we have married, if you marry the wrong person, you will miss eternity. And then you begin to have children, you're always praying for every day. So please, my dear sister, wait faithfully, please. What I mean, wait faithfully, because if you are waiting for an Adventist person and another person is coming, and then you begin to engage and do it in your own way, at the end of the day, Adventist person comes, and then the other benefits of marriage is not coming, you will not begin to have yourself to blame. Please wait faithfully.
All right.
Before Pastor talks, let me just quickly say, it's not about Adventists or not Adventists. There are Seventh-day Adventists who are more devil than not Seventh-day Adventists. If it's also less, I want us to clear that. But the issue on ground lines that this person is looking at time. Time is the issue. So this person is looking at my time. Let me just grab who is available. That is the issue on ground. And see, one of the reasons why people are encouraged to marry people of the same worldview is because there is so much more than love when you get to marry. There's so many things that happen that you end up getting lost because you don't view the same thing. And that is why sometimes it looks as if a Seventh Adventist will say, hey, don't marry nonsense. For example, if someone who is a Methodist or someone who is an Anglican are in a relationship, there's a common factor, the worship on Sunday. So that but the fact that you worship on Sabbath and this person worships on Sunday, it has implications. As a lady, for example, you are in your in-law space, you can't go to church, but you are a man, you are supposed to go to church, and your wife is already, he has one party to go to, whatever. It's troubling, even from that alone. So, but this case is a function of time. The person is waiting, and the person is trying to look for who is available. It is not necessarily about Adventist or not Adventist. That is what I'm seeing here. So if the person sees a Seventh Adventist now who is a devil now, she's likely going to plunge and marry him because of time.
Okay.
Thank you. Let me stay with the person's, let me leave Dr. Nakuru with his philosophy and stay with the person.
I'm not sure this person is here, but if the person is here, that's fine. But for every other person who is listening, whether physically or online, it is important to understand that there are things within your control and things outside your control in life. As somebody who is wired to be precautionary, I try to put on the table things that are within my control and things that are outside my control. What am I talking about? I want to get married at 30. I cannot get married though, until I've done this. I must finish school. I get a job, save some money before I get married. Beautiful. What does God want? You see, a young lady, I'm saying this because most times ladies are the ones who always run into trouble, because a man can wake up at 40 or 45 and say, I want to go and get married. He will still find fire. He can even run to a lady of 20 years and marry. Sisters, wise up. It's good to finish school, be a career person, get a job, make some money, save it enough, because I don't want any man to control my head. I don't want to depend on a man. It's good. But the point is that by the time you are eventually ready, or even before you're ready, God may have sent you your own husband, but you won't see him because already you have fixed some things in your head that are repulsive. So when that person eventually gets ready, the point is that there are no advantages. The other thing is that, let me say here, somebody can say, oh, this is insecurity. But naturally, a man wants somebody wrote a book that men drink respect, women drink love. Everyone wants love. Everyone wants respect. Okay? So no man wants to marry another man. Something comes with maturing to the point where you are 30, 35 as a woman, a single woman, you are not married. You already learned how to manage yourself. You are in charge of your world. Sometimes fitting into another person's life who now tells you, no, you dress up, you're going, no, where are you going to? It's like, am I marrying you? Is this slavery? I'm going somewhere, you ask where I'm going to. So adjustments can be very difficult. So men don't want to marry women that cannot respect them. And I have seen, some time ago, I had a seminar in Lagos, and a lady spoke to me, why is it that young men are scared of me? I said, they are scared because you are a woman of class, and they don't want anybody who will not give them headache. So get married for the right persons. Sometimes when you have achieved in life, okay, guys will come to marry you not because they love you, but because of what you have achieved. So at the earliest stage, women have prime time. Men have prime time. Get married at your prime time. Talk to God about it. Don't be driven by career, don't be driven by whatever, because by the time you are eventually, and there's no market where they do men. Okay, you have to wait. And the process may be very, very frustrating. I don't talk about the fact that there are no advantages. There are. Sometimes people will say, oh, you see, this one advantage is more loving, it's more caring. The others who are looking at you, probably they don't have what the other persons outside have. Also, so check your priorities. Are you looking down on persons because, oh, the Adventist guy doesn't have a car, he has not built a house, that's why you're looking down on him. Marry for the right reasons. Let God lead. Clarify your priorities. And let us understand that on the long run, it is good to marry somebody who has a vision, who has a dream, and is committed to it, than somebody who's already made. When you marry somebody who's already made, one day you take the remote to watch your African magic, and then he comes and pick the remote and change it to sports channel, and you ask him, what's the problem? And he will ask you, so what? Didn't you meet this TV here when you came? And then you remember that already made can purge.
All right, so Dr. Bauer, I'm tempted to ask this question because I know from afar, I've seen some of the things written here, and the question is from a female. What do you say about achieving career goals as a female before getting married? Is it ideal, or which is better, going into marriage without having career path figured out or at least some career goals that achieve. So it's picking up from the age and what pastor has said, another thing. So that's where the person is trying to come out from.
Keep planning your life. Keep working at your goals, whether they are career-wise. Keep being the best you can be. You may just meet him on your road to achieving that career fit you're looking for, or just where you finally get to. But for me, the most important thing, building yourself. Spend much time to build yourself. Make yourself right. Don't say, I finished BSc. Let me not pick NSC form in case my future husband sees me having NSC and decides not to marry me. Don't say, oh, I already have this job. I will take on a bigger one in case the man refuses to marry someone who earns total and so zeros. I have seen people who married women who earn more than them. In fact, I know someone currently in a relationship who is a contract staff and is going to get married to someone who earns 000. You know what I mean? So don't let that, for me, that is missing the mark. The main thing is building yourself. Who are you associating with? What do you do? How committed are you to the things of God? And believing in His word, I'm sure God will not put any of His children to shame. And like you said, it actually comes to that point where it's like, oh, I did everything right. Yes, I'm not married by same time. Then trust God. Trust God for the hereafter. Just this morning, driving to church, I saw a woman backing a baby who got married had a child. But at the same time, I'll give it to pastor. There are options now women are taking. Okay? Because believe it or not, some of us have made wrong decisions over the years, and we have come to a point where it looks as if it's getting late. Just a little digression from this question. And there are options that are open to our Adventist ladies and to Christian ladies. Number one, baby mama option. Number two, freeze the egg option. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Yes, just freeze the egg option. Number three, donor option. And it is real. I'm saying it is real. Keep the focus. Don't forget at any time who you are, first of all. Whose you are. Then, you can quickly click one. I will use my as an example. And it's also in line with what you just said. Whether you have seen the person you want to marry or not, that should not stop you from your dream. And so if you believe the person that you want to marry and you just have your BSA or your BA, communication is very important. Please, I have it in mind that I want to move forward. Do you key into my dreams? Okay, so there is a need for you to communicate. And when I met the man I wanted to marry, I was not having the NA. But right now I'm in a PhD as well. That was not stopping from submitting. Okay, so it is an understanding. If you still married as not one being on top and you are the other one, take it as a partnership, as a relationship. It's a relationship with you of all time. So whether as a woman you are doing your PhD and then you find the man that you want to get married to, what is your personality? How do you present it? Like what Pastor has said, men need respect. No matter how small they may look, respect is key to a man. No matter how big you as a woman may be, respect is key to a man. So that's what you are doing. Because if you are saying that you want to wait until you get married before you pursue your career, my friend, you may end up not achieving that. Okay? But along the line, as you are waiting, that means that you work and go and pray and work. As you are working, you are waiting, you are praying, you are working, not just looking, just becoming idle.
Because men also need to marry a woman that will not be a liability. A woman that will not always be a liability. No, Bible says that a woman should be the of a man. So let that also be in our mind as we move on in life.
Thank you. I don't know if we still have people in the audience too that still have questions, because I want to ask two more questions. I'm also tempted to give you an invite to join us online evening. We'll be having interactive. That is the scripture. That is what I'm saying. If you pay attention, we'll be having interactive sessions. So most likely we'll do that on Zoom. So please, we have questions about parenthood, about emotional management, and about poor self-esteem. But we have been able to do sexual urges, feeling towards opposite sexes, and age. So there's a question online. In a situation where a lady in her 30s who desires to marry a young man, however, an older man in their last 30s keep coming, and the age obviously showing in the physical appearance, what will the lady do here? Note, the lady have no physical likeness whatsoever for older men. How does she know the mind of God for her? Since God says, ask, and it shall be given, and nothing is hard for him to do. I don't think this question is interpretation.
The first problem is, why does she want to marry a younger guy? Because it should have been fine that if she is in her 30s and a man in his late 30s, she's in her 30s, a man is in his late 30s. So both of them are already within the same age bracket. So why would she want to marry a younger guy? Because marrying a younger guy also comes with its own troubles. So much trouble. Because if you marry a man who is looking for respect and you are old already, you say, what? Every time you tell you are not respecting me because you are my senior. So that one will, lead to fight. Even though today, there is a new phenomenon where you see younger boys marrying older women, maybe abroad. I don't know about Nigeria, whether how that works in Nigeria, but psychologically, it is said that women think faster than guys, at least for 2 years difference, even though some scientists and neuropsychologists have argued that, by the time they get to 25 years, there is the possibility of a balance up. But you could see that women think faster, women are sharp, women are more complex in their thinking. So even if, like my wife and I am 3 years and 3 years and 3 months older than my wife, yet we reason there. So if, even though she's younger, we reason at the same level. Now tell me what happens if she's older. Yes, guys, there are young men who can still match up, but issues may arise. So I will say that people should know what is the right thing to do. Issues about age is a baggage. If you can pick one that is good, but if you pick a wrong one, you are in forever. People, by extension, let me also say that men should avoid going to marry ladies that are 10 years younger. Look, your sex life will be messed up. The moment you are 50 years old, you discover that by the time you are struggling with weak erection, quick ejaculation, watery sperm, the lady is still intact, jumping up and down. Then, if you cannot satisfy her, many have gone outside. Even at the personage, some have left their husband to satisfy themselves sexually. How long will I continue to endure? So decisions about marriage should be made from a comprehensive point of view. I mean, comprehensive point of view. It's not something that you should be emotional about. Reason it very well. If you don't understand it, get counselors, read books like Sister Harriet said, acquaint yourself, read yourself out of ignorance. Okay, read yourself out of ignorance, because any wrong decision you make before getting married will haunt you for a lifetime. It will haunt you, except you want to jump out and jump in elsewhere. Otherwise, let's be careful with who to marry. I will say if the man is within your age bracket, then marry him. But if the younger guy, I have seen people, I have joined a couple where the woman is older. I have. But I'll tell you the problem. I will tell them during counseling session, these are possible challenges. Some of them are experiencing those things I told them. But at the point of the decision, they said, Pastor, that's what we want. Let's go to the altar. Let's go. I won't stop you, but I will tell you possible issues. And those issues are there. In fact, one just broke. One of the marriages just ended. And today we are, even though that one, the lady did not tell the real age, but now the real age is coming, and people have come to realize that it was actually that age point, because she always looked at, he said, look at small boy, I've seen you, what are you asking me to sit down, or what, who are you? So it is now that it has ended that people now realize, oh, this is what happened. Oh, she's old and I didn't know, no, he said, no, she told me that was not the age. So age factor is a major issue in marriage. When it comes to responsibility, when it comes to respect, when it comes to even biological and physiological changes that people go through. And then when it comes to the fact that your sex life, if you marry somebody that the age gap is wide, be sure that your sex life will be in crisis. Because it is good that your age difference is not far from each other, so that when the man is strong, when the woman is struggling from menopause, the man is struggling with andropause. When the woman is having issues of heat, the man is struggling with his own baggage. So you lick your wound together as you pass. Okay, but if this person is down and the other person is still sexually active, the person may endure for a while. And the next thing is to find a way to satisfy him or herself, and that will be a crisis in the family. So let's be careful with age issues in marriage, please.
Does anyone have anything to conclude on age issues? That's what we're wrapping up. I want to touch the other one. If you have anything, experience, ideal age, nothing? All right, so any question from our live audience? Okay, so thank you very much for coming. We have learned a lot, and like my philosophy has been from the beginning, it's better we handle some topics and we do good justice to them than scratch so many wounds and not know where to apply spirits and then iodine to. So thank you very much for coming. By God's grace, we have another session starting right about now, and we have more online tomorrow. But the climax of it too, we'll have some interactive session tomorrow evening. So people will also have more questions. So if you can link up Pastor Dixon to get the link so they can join us on Zoom, would love and appreciate that very much. And welcome to the family. So the next people are ready. So thank you very much. We can go back to our seats. May the Lord continue to bless us and guide us. As they are going to the seats, I'll be inviting the next set of moderators. That is Joan and Emmanuel.
So we need to have to study it for us. When you study, it make you wise. I am more than Revelation 1 page. And it was
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the previous session, and now we're going to go to the second half of this panel. We're going to talk about how to handle house chores, household/cooking. And my name is Joanne, and I'm with Emmanuel. Emmanuel, say hi.
Hello, everyone. It's good to have this session again. And I'm very sure that you all enjoyed the last session. So my name is Olabi Emmanuel. Thank you.
All right. So this session is going to hold for 2 hours, and just stay put and enjoy it. We are going to invite our guests now, our guest panelists, Mr. Oyedele Olubenga, being here with us. All right. You're welcome, sir. Then we're going to invite Dr. Ernest Onuri. Okay, as we wait for him, we're going to invite Dr. Abigail Ozorunju. Then Miss Constance Echefu. Constance Echefu.
All right, thank you so much. So our guest panelists who are here this evening, we have Dr. Enek Onori, if I'm correct. Okay, sorry. Okay, we have Mr. Idele Olugbenga, rather. Okay, yeah. Thank you, sir. And then we have Dr. Abigail Azorondo. Yeah, thank you so much. So we'll continue the session, and hopefully we have the rest of our guest speakers connect with us. I think we have someone that is going to connect online. Then we'll have one more person that is meant to be here physically. Yeah, thank you so much. So we have our questions here grouped into sessions so that we can also be able to accommodate questions online. So for everyone joining us online right now, we're following you up to see your questions. So just come up with us so that we can enjoy the session together. So the first set of questions we'll be starting with how help are made. We put it in categories so that we have our central points well addressed. So the first question, we go to Dr. Olubenga, right? Oh, Mr. Olubenga. Yeah, thank you. So is it wrong to get the house help? I think we have the mic. Is it wrong to get the house help?
Well, I will say it depends on individual choice. But for me, I don't subscribe to the idea of getting an house help. You know, what needs to be done in the house, it's something you and every other person in the house should be able to do. It's part of growing, it's a learning process, it's part of training. So I don't subscribe, but it's left to individuals to decide what they want. There are so many challenges, there are some advantages, there are disadvantages of getting house help. But personally, no, I don't subscribe to the idea.
Okay, if I get you answered correctly, my question is it wrong to get it out help? So you're saying it is wrong?
I'm not saying it is wrong. Okay. I'm not saying it is wrong. Yeah, it's what you want. Okay. To me, I don't want. You can. Well, I'm still single. Later on, probably
Not
if
wrong.
we don't want ourselves, definitely we'll communicate, discuss, then weigh the advantages, weigh the disadvantages before we make that decision. So I'm not saying it is wrong, but I personally don't like the idea.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so we have another guest with us online, Miss Constance Echefu. You're welcome, ma'am. So
Thank
we are
you.
going to go to the next question.
Begin
At what
program.
stage, this is going to continue, ma'am. At what stage in a relationship or marriage should one get a maid?
Right.
At what stage in a relationship or marriage should one get a maid?
Okay, thank you. And as Mr.
One pint of
Benga
water.
said, it depends on the family. In my own perspective, I would say it depends on each family. Now that we can see that a lot of parents, that is spouse, are working, mothers go to work, that father goes to work, and what happens to the baby? Okay, so in my own experience, I have babies too. At the first 2 years of my childbearing, I had a hard speed, but I gave some boundaries. That is the time where some of them had to come, resume in the morning and leave in the evening. There were times where some had to stay, but there are challenges. Probably we'll get, we'll cross it if the questions will get that. But there are challenges with house help, and most times people get house help at the point when they give birth because the baby have to still be taken care of.
Thank you so much for that answer. The next question goes to Ms. Constance, right? So we have, has anyone gotten a maid amongst the married folks? Has anyone gotten a maid among the married folks? What were or are their experiences? Okay, so this question is meant to be open actually, but let's hear what Ms. Constance will say. So have you most likely gotten a maid, and what was your experience like? And if not, you have people that have gotten maids and you can share experiences from. Ms. Constance, are you there? Okay, she's not the one on the line right now. So because of please, when you connect with us, please just chat to we'll know. Okay, let's continue. So that goes to everyone I'm gonna say. So for the question, so people get experience because just like Mr. Albing had mentioned the previous time, must have been a reason where you get no to means and there are experiences that you can cite from.
I have not had any experiences with having any maid or so. But while growing up, we didn't have housemates, and everything went well.
Okay, like I said earlier, there are lots of challenges, and one of them is reliability. There are times where you won't be able to rely on them. Sometimes some of them who come to our home, and when they are going, they will take some things. It leads to stealing, it leads to lying, and there are also times where I took a decision and said, okay, we needed someone who would stay with us because at that time I started a program where I had to read and I needed someone to take care of the baby. Now, what happens is that the person will leave the baby and sleep, and the baby will be left alone. And it is a time when, by the time I'll get to know that this baby is being left alone, is when the baby start crying. Sometimes there are times where the baby have to fall from the bed, and then somebody have to pick up the baby. So there are issues with reliability. There are issues with communication. I still remember when I had my first child, she was still about 1 year, 6 months when I got pregnant for the second one. And my husband was with me. He was in pastoring elsewhere. And I had to get a housemaid who stayed with me. And at this time, they brought the housemaid all the way from Iluwa or something. There were issues with communication because when you are pregnant, there's this kind of irritations that comes at every minute. And I said, please help me cook eba. And then she will make amala. And then the food comes to you, and you're like, but I told you eba, why would you bring amala? And then I didn't know what there are issues with communications, issues with reliabilities, and then issues with if you're going to get a house help who is trained, then it needs with pride. There are lots of challenges, like I said, with personal experience, and also outside personal experience, we also have experiences with media where we read and we see how self poison was and the baby, we'll see where child is being beaten and all that.
Thank you. So what are the things you watch out for while picking a maid or help?
Okay. One of the things we do look at in my family, I would like to personalize it. Each time we need a housemaid, we pray. Coming from a pastoral family, we always want to go into fasting and prayer. But it doesn't come that way. Sometimes we call when the person comes, most of these house help, we don't know them. It's always based on referral. So when they come, we ask, are you a Christian? And I still remember there was a lady they brought at a point who was Sele. And at the point when she came, her load, I had to check loads before you get in, because another thing is security. So when she came, I was checking her things and I saw oil, I saw a special cream, and then she said this oil will be used in the morning, this other one is in the night. I didn't let her step in because that alone got me scared. So a lot of things is being considered. I personally want to consider, are you a Christian? Even if you're not an Adventist, I believe that staying with me, that would have her out. But however, we always want to see someone communicate. Like I said, communication is an issue because any housemaid who would take care of your child have to communicate. Children learn mostly by what they see and not just what they hear. So that is very important for me.
Yeah, thank you so much for that answer. That personal experience or personal acts of offense actually so key. The next question will come like this. We have heard stories of how mates or helps have destroyed several early marriages. Okay, and then as a single person, should this be discussed among parties before saying I do?
Yes, it is an important discussion to have. It is an important discussion to have. You are just two in the house, and I don't see why you need an housemaid, an house help to take care of you guys. Just married or there's no need for housemaid. You should not do more than what you should not do more than what can carry. How many is the house? Is it a two-bedroom flat? Is it a single room apartment? Two bedroom, three bedroom? How long will it take for you to sweep the house and together? It even gives room for bonding, between both parties. Yeah. So I've watched so many movies. I've heard so many situations whereby the housemaid was the instrument used by the devil, let me put it that way, to scatter or divide the marriage. Yes, I know it happens, but to be on a safer side, it needs to be discussed before you guys decide to say, I do. You need to communicate, you need to discuss. Like I said earlier, you need to weigh the advantages and the disadvantages. If the disadvantages is way more than the advantages, then it's better to, just not go into it at all.
Okay, I want to refine a particular interest or an interest in the way you're approaching the answer. Okay, say that one as a partner, as a male, okay, you have a partner that you're about to go into marriage, you're trying to discuss all these house help issues, and then the lady comes up with, for me, I think I will need house help to actually do my things, and I know I will have to do this and do that and do that, so I will need an house help. Do you see the lady as weak? Nice one. And then the other question is, as a guy, okay, you're trying to be considerate. Oh, of course, you understand that both of you have to do the work together to take care of the family and everything like that. And then you're like, okay, for you may not be available, so you need house help to support. And the lady's like, no, please. Did you see the lady as jealous? So what's the question?
Okay. When it comes to discussing that, there's no. Okay, let me say that I won't see anything wrong in you getting someone to come and help probably once a while, probably on Sundays where there's a large cleaning to be done. You know, probably the person comes around, just cleans and leave. You know, but living in with the couple, you know, I personally will not advise that. You know, even family members living with a very young couple, it's to me, it's on the wrong side, you know. So it's better to just abstain from things that will bring up issues about jealousy, weakness, and all that, you know. Okay, you can have someone come around, okay, on Sunday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., just clean and then leave, just to lighten the burden, you know. And sometimes we don't even get satisfied by what another person is doing for us. You know, after the person leaves, then that's when you say, this person did not clean this place very well. And then you take a rag, clean it again and sweep. Then why don't you do it yourself? You know, so to just avoid the jealousy part.
1 kg, 1,000.
If you want someone,
1,000.
probably because I'm busy or I'm not always at home. Okay, but specific time, like I said, not a living maid.
Okay, so Ms. Constance, this question will go to you. Are you with us, ma'am? Okay, so I'm just going to throw it to you, Dr. Abigail. So are there specific house chores made for specific genders? Is there any specific house chore, like, are there specific house chores that are made for a particular gender?
No.
Okay, let me hear your view on it. Let's hear your view.
My mic is on.
Okay, so I know we have cultural stereotypes where we have different cultural backgrounds, have different ideology towards it. But in my own end, also, if you look at feminist ideology, they will also tell you that, oh, the women have to do this, the men have to do an equal right. But in my own opinion, I would say it depends on communication and negotiation. There is need for communication, there is need for negotiation, there is need where you and your husband have to sit and discuss. Now, when you're discussing, you understand that there are preferences, there are things the man love to do, there are things interest. So you look based on the interest of that person. So when you discuss that, that will always go a long way for you.
So then, do you have the same?
Hi, good
I
afternoon.
agree with that statement, actually. You know, there's no specific chore to a specific gender. You know, there's nothing stopping the husband from going into the kitchen to cook while the wife is taking care of the baby, or while the wife is sweeping the house. And there's nothing bad for the husband sweeping the house while the woman is cooking in the kitchen. You know, so, and like she said, communicate with each other. You know, discuss which one do you like to do. If you like to do it, then no wahala, you know, you find joy in what you like to do now. So
Okay, I think this will lead into a follow-up question. If the principle to sharing responsibilities in the home is with interest, negotiation, and lot, so how do you handle a lazy male or a lazy female? Like, how do you handle a lazy partner?
well, I'm not married yet. So probably that's one of those things we have to look into before saying I do. You know, you have to know that your partner is hardworking. You know, it's very important not to just leave it to one person to do the job. You know, if not, the person gets stressed out, gets burnt out the person falls sick easily, then at the end of the day, you that you are lazy and you don't want to do, you still be the one to take care of the person. At least if the person is stressed out or sick, you can't just leave the person there alone to fend for or him or herself. So it's better to discuss that. It's better to look into that. We were always told when we were small that you need to visit before marriage your partner unannounced so that you know the kind of person the person is. Especially when the person is with the parent, so that when you get there, probably very early in the morning, she's sleeping in the room and the parents are busy working in the mother is busy working in the kitchen, or the father is busy doing farm work outside, and the person is in the room chilling, and it should raise a kind of red flag. So
Did you want to input? Did you have?
I think I agree with him. Yeah.
So, Ms. Dr. Abigail, don't women get overwhelmed or burdened with several house chores while men are only after meals and watching TV? Don't women get overwhelmed by certain house chores while their men are just like watching TV and and eating, they're just crossing their legs?
Obviously. So sometimes that is why you notice some women go into depression. In the case where women cannot express it, where they have this philosophy that don't talk, keep it. This is your spouse, don't speak out. Some women keep it within themselves and they begin to die inside. Stress, because they're not able to handle those stress, it leads to depression. And once it leads to depression, some of them it begins to affect their mental health. So it obviously really goes out of hand, and that is why the essence of dating is communication. I really don't know how they date now, but I know that in my own time, when you date, you discuss everything. You discuss how to help, you discuss how many children, you discuss how do we handle the house, you discuss everything. So that when you get married, some of these things don't become a problem. The few time you spend together to discuss, what do you talk about? These are the things you talk about. Forget about sex, love, and all that. Talk about what happens after marriage, because that is just the beginning and very important.
So I have a question that I want to play, we can play around with right now. And the question is coming from the fact that men, or let me say, is it men like oatmeal? So is it compulsory you accept oatmeal? Like your meal is served hot. Is it compulsory? And how do you say it?
hot or fresh?
Okay, fresh, right? Yeah, hot and fresh, yeah.
Okay. If it is oatmeal, there's nothing stopping you from, going to the kitchen to warm it yourself if you want oatmeal. Yeah. And if it is fresh food, it's communication. Communication matters. We've been talking about communication matters. If it is fresh meal, taking a grinded tomato and pepper out of the freezer and making it into a stew is still fresh. It has not been cooked before. You are not warming it because you cooked it probably the day before yesterday. So communication matters. If you want fresh food, tell your spouse, and when she can't cook fresh food, you need to understand the fact that probably something came up, that is hindering the person from preparing fresh food for you. And if you still insist on eating fresh food, there's nothing stopping you from going into the kitchen and preparing the fresh food if the ingredient is available.
Yes, thank you for the answer, but how practical is your answer? Because it's a preference, like you like fresh food and maybe, okay, like you said, the hot one can easily microwave and all of that, but when you are saying you like fresh meal as a man and you're not getting it, is gonna be a concurrent approach, like you have to keep doing the same thing, like going to the kitchen yourself after your wife had prepared a meal for you. You have to keep going back there to cook an hour for yourself.
All right. Like I said, communication is important. Those are the things you discuss even before you say I do. You know, which type of meal do you like? Do you like fresh food? Do you like microwaved food? Do you like fast food? You know, you should know your partner's preference when it comes to food, you know. And if your partner respects you enough, if they can prepare the fresh food, they will prepare the fresh food for you, you know. And like I said, if you've been eating fresh food 1 week, 2 months, and probably a day comes and the person can prepare fresh food, you should not fault the person because definitely there will be something wrong while the person can't prepare, you know, fresh food, you know.
All right. So we have a question online. It says, I'm just doing it to you. How do you know if a man is willing to assist in house chores when one is in a relationship, when you don't live together?
Okay, when we started, we talked about communication. In the process of communication, you ask yourself, what do you like? While you're discussing, you'll be able to understand your likes and don'ts. Okay, let me give you a practical example. When I was dating my husband, I and my husband were dating, and we were discussing, and we were talking, and I said, I really don't like washing clothes with my hands. At that time, we don't have washing machine, but I know I do not really like washing clothes with my hands. And I knew I washed it while I was growing up because it was necessity. It was compulsory. But you will hardly see me wash anybody else's clothes because I really don't like it. So he told me when we were discussing, he said, okay, do you know what we'll do? Wash together. And I said, that's fine. I will wash it and then you can help me sun it. Because the problem is not even the washing. The problem is you wash and you stand up and sun and come back and sit and wash and go sun, you know, and we discussed it. So at the point when we got married, it wasn't a problem. So you will see us, even my landlady would look at us and say, which one is this Tom and Jerry? Because we always pack our clothes together, go outside, sit and start washing together, and then we sun. So it is based on communication. And that is the reason why it's important you are real when you're dating. Do not pretend. Openness is very important. When you're open to each other, it will help in a lot of problems that will come up later.
Okay,
So in addition to that, you know, we are in the age of technology. And like you said, communication is important, right? Even though you cannot help each other to sweep the house, buy probably vacuum cleaner or buy a robot that cleans. You know, we have all these small robots that cleans. You know, communicate, agree, you know, talk about everything, anything that can cause issues. Talk about it and, you know, have your agreement. Even though you cannot, we discussed about fresh food the other time. Even though you cannot keep making fresh food, buy, you know, all these food processor that will make life easy. And even if it is fresh, within 20, 30 minutes, everything is ready. No need to stress yourself. You know? So communication is important. You need to, you know, talk about it, discuss it, and come to an agreement.
So how do you and your partner currently divide household chores? It's not just for the married people. If you have you can answer.
Okay, presently we don't share responsibilities. It's something that we've got to understand each other interests. Okay, you will hardly see my husband sweep. You will hardly see him sweep. Instead of sweeping, he cooks. He likes to go to the kitchen. Okay, so because of that, it's not a problem anymore. You know, family dynamics is important. Understand yourself, understand your family, and that goes a long way. When we started having children, I still remember when my baby was still small, I gave my baby to my husband. I said, honey, please carry this baby. Let me quickly go prepare some. And he said, and the baby jumped to the kitchen. He didn't just want the situation where he will carry baby and start dancing, so he would prefer to do the cooking and then while you carry the baby. But like I said, we really don't share responsibilities. We just, once he says that I'm cleaning the house, he is in the kitchen. I noticed that he, as in every house chores, the thing he loves most is just the cooking. Because I know he likes that, I do not make it as if it is his role, but I think when I'm doing something else, he just handle that aspect, and it has never been a problem.
But is it something that was discussed between both of you? That, okay, this is what I like and I'll do this, or it's just something you observed?
Okay, like I said, when we were dating, when we discussed, it was really not, at the point of our discussion, he said he can do anything. And I said, I can do anything. I really don't like washing. So the first, like I said the other time, the first thing we did in the house, the first project was to buy a washing machine. That was the first project. And though we weren't, it wasn't as if we were working good. We just started very young. But the first thing we did was to buy a washing machine, so it will ease the work. So at the point of discussion, we said, okay, we could do anything. And at one point or the other, it's not as if sweeping is forbidden, no. But it is just that I noticed that is his interest, so I don't forcefully put him there. But in a situation where I'm not around, because sometimes I'm not around, he does it with the kids. Although the children are grown now, so they do most of this. But most times he can still do it. But like I said, family dynamics is important. It is good you swap roles. It is good you share responsibilities so that it doesn't get so overwhelming for the other person. But at the same time, when you understand that person's thinking, it won't look forceful and stressful. When the person is doing it, the person wouldn't grumble about it, and the person wouldn't nag about it equally, but the person will feel, okay, I'm just helping out, and that goes back to this ideology of it is the woman who does the cooking, the sweeping, the cleaning, the child care. No, and the man does the outdoor work, repairs. It's good to understand that. There's understanding. Yeah, those things can be done for now. Where mothers stays at home all day. But now both of you go to work. You're both working class. When you get back from work in the evening, one person is doing the job, one person wants to do it. So that is how it is.
Maybe something that you guys have discussed, and then okay, when he was trying to put you, probably he was like, he can do all things, Okay. Oh, we have one of our panelists here with us, Dr. Ernest. So you're welcome. You're welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Okay, so the question, maybe you were dating the person and you already had that whole conversation of this is what I don't like in household issues. And then he says, I can do all things, maybe a way to make you see that that's not going to be a problem. And then in long run, in marriage, things are changing. He's telling you, but are you not the woman? Be cooking, what happens then?
Okay, thank you. Two ways to this situation. One, you must discuss what is the cause of the change. Something somebody is doing and suddenly the person changes. You must have to know the reason why there's a change. If maybe the man feels you've taken it as a duty to depend on him, every man has this ego that feels, oh, okay, now you're depending on me, I won't do it anymore. Now, if that is out of it and you're sure that that isn't the case, then I feel the woman should begin to work on her mental health. What do I mean by that? Do things to make yourself happy. You do it, you strategize. You don't have to do all the job in a day. You share the jobs and take your time and do it, because your health is very important. If you want to do everything at once, if anything happens to you, sorry, that man is going to marry another woman. So the woman have to think twice, have to pray, I also, because I'm a social worker, so I tell people there's also need for you to speak out. Now, there is somebody this man listen to. It could be a spiritual leader, it could be a counselor, it could be a therapist, and it could be a social worker, or someone like depends on somebody's, maybe your husband listen to. You could speak out so that someone can come and intercede. And if you notice it isn't working, then I will still advise for the woman to work, to strategize, and share those chores into days. Do it as your strength can take. Do not do anything to please anyone, but do things to please yourself. Self-love is very important.
Thank you, ma. So if I can summarize what you mentioned now, you owe yourself care and responsibility, you owe your partner responsibility, you owe your home general responsibility. So in trying to balance these three things, like, is there a preference of one over the other that you, if you are an institution where you have to pick one, which one do you go for?
I'll pick myself. Myself is very important, because when you love yourself, then you'll be concerned about your mental health. And then you will know that yourself is important, because even God says, love your neighbor as yourself. Before you can love your neighbor, you must love yourself. So yourself is very important.
Thank you, ma. So the next question, thank you, Dr. Oniri, for joining us. So next question, let's welcome you with that question. So what are your expectations regarding the division of household tasks? When you, I don't know whether you're married or you're single. So when you're about to share household tasks with your wife, what are your expectations? Like, what are things you're looking at?
All right, thank you my name is Ernest. Okay, and I apologize for just coming, misinformation, or sorry, wrong communication. So the interesting thing about this kind of question, or I should say that the interesting thing about this conversation in general is that it's hard to pin any answer to anybody. You hardly have a one-size-fits-all position. I am me. I was born into my kind of family. I happen to be the first child of 5 children. So I had women all around me. So that tells you, whether I wanted it or not, there were things that I didn't have to do. Okay? Cooking, for example. My mother taught me how to cook as the first child because my sisters were smaller. But time came when they grew and I was not always around. For example, I had to leave for the university. By the time I got back, there was nothing left for me as far as kitchen was concerned. You get my point? And so I could not fit into that space anymore. So I had other responsibilities I had to deal with that I didn't outgrow, whether or not I was a boy or surrounded by women, like laundry. Okay, I was the washerman of the family for as long as I remained in the family. So having given that little hint of my background, I met my wife. When we met, she knew me as somebody who would fix everything, okay? Interestingly, when we met, I had my sister living with me. So again, kitchen was sorted, right? At every point in time, I lived a single life. One of my sister was around me. So kitchen was, so it made me to forget to a very large extent how the kitchen works. Fast forward, when I got married, I tried to help in the kitchen, but my wife has her ways. She felt a little awkward about it. I said, "No, I'm just here to help and reconnect with the kitchen." But she said she was uncomfortable. So making no cross quarrel now. So I started giving her some space there. But when it comes to every other kind of house chore, like I'll tell those I speak with, there is no kind of chore. I'm still the washerman of my, so I brought that one into my family. All right, so my wife doesn't have to do laundry, except I'm in a position where it's very hard, okay? So as far as that goes, as far as doing the dishes goes, as far as giving my kids the bath, as far as vacuuming the house, cleaning, I do not think I have to wait for my wife to do those things. As a matter of fact, there was never a time when we had to sit down to say, you do this one, you that one. You just see that something needs to be done. My oldest child is 7. For goodness sake, there's so much that she will not be able to do. Okay? You just see that something needs to be done and I get it done. All right. So we didn't sit down to say, you do this, you do that. The roles just synchronized naturally and we just rolled with them. When she's pregnant, and there are things too she can't do, I don't expect her to do those things. And so for us, we just roll with the flow. The only thing, like I have confessed, I don't really do is cook. Okay? It doesn't mean I will not cook to save my life, but to cook for the family is just something that hasn't played out, in that mix of role sharing. But every other thing, I am able to handle.
Yeah, thank you so much for the answer to the question. This seems to have a similar response to the kind of question we're having even before you came. The one particular common factor I can bring out from the way you respond to the question is actually like sense of responsibility of each of the partners. If they feel that they actually have to take care of their home, each of them, one way or the other, however it is, whether their preference or they share the roles or anything, they must do something to make sure the family is doing fine. But in a scenario where you are now a partner with a partner that does not have this understanding, how do you cope? I don't know if anyone wants to answer that question.
So this is kind of connected with an earlier question of you both thought you had an understanding and then you get married and the person is now nonchalant about the very same thing that he or she vigorously took charge of, and I would say it's deception. Somebody was not being honest or sincere. I know someone, all right, who's close. From when we were small, or shall I say, from when we were younger, he was mommy's boy. So he was always close to the kitchen, right? And he continued that way into adulthood. So you cannot, it's not the kind of guy that a woman is going to do shakara for as far as the kitchen goes. My wife can do shakara for me as far as the kitchen goes. So he's still single. He should have married a long time ago if he was serious about it. But there was this relationship he was in, and I was convinced he was overdoing certain things. The lady will be around, not doing anything that would suggest that, okay, I need to help in this kitchen thing. This guy will cook, will bring, should we eat? This guy will come back from the office, he's exhausted, he's at home. He will run up to the market, buy stuff, come back. I said, guy, you sure? You sure? Are you sure? Because for me, I was convinced he was overdoing it. All right. In some way, the love was not balanced. The way he was looking at the girl, the lady was looking at him. Eventually, the relationship was going to would fail. But I was very, very convinced that if that relationship had transitioned into marriage, these issues will crop up because he would not be able to sustain what I saw him do. And that's where people make mistakes. I used to tell my wife, there is nothing I am doing now that you didn't meet me doing, and there is nothing you are saying I should start doing that I was doing before. Okay, and it's very, very important. You don't need to change for anybody if you are not convinced about that change, because it will not be sustainable. One day it will just crumble in front of you, and it's going to be disastrous because the other person is going to be like, where's it? And that's the question you're asking. Where is all this change coming from? That fellow was not convinced about it from the get-go. The person was just trying to buy time or pretend to be okay with whatever it was, just so you have a sense of happiness that, we're cooperating, or I love you so that see, when you are dating someone, you're coming and going. When you marry someone, you wake up feeling, you cannot feel like it today and tomorrow don't feel like it. You just spend 2-3 hours with the person, and then, but when you live with that person as a spouse, it's a totally different ballgame. And so both parties need to come clean, and the only way this problem gets to happen is that they were not being true or honest to themselves in the first place. That's the only thing I see here. It's not a case of I lost motivation. There's nothing like that. You're not losing motivation. That's just not who you are, but you've been pretending all the while. Thank you.
So do we have any questions from our physical members? Okay. Okay, we have one question. Okay.
Okay, good evening. My question is, in a situation where two partners, okay, I'm speaking about the lady, and she's not comfortable when the husband tries to help her, like with house choice. She really wants him to help, but she has this mindset that whatever he's doing is no good. Like the husband doesn't know how to mop, how to cook, but she really wants him to help her. So how can you help this type of person?
In this case, I will look at it. Let's go back to cultural background. Probably this person's orientation from home is that men are not meant to do house chores. When men are doing it, it means that you are enslaving them. Or people would think they will have put the man into a bottle, and then they will think you have charmed him, and that is why he is doing it. So when this person have this orientation, there is need for that person to be spoken to be reoriented. That is different from if this person have OCD, that is obsessive compulsive disorder, where this person is believe that anything you do is not perfect. So that in that case, you know that is a problem. This person needs therapy because this person is thinking he is a perfectionist, and whatever you do is not clean enough. Okay, let me give you an example. If you wash clothes, do laundry for my dad, he's going to do it again. because he feels that cloth is not clean enough. So each time we do laundry for him, he's going to pick the cloth and say, oh, you didn't wash the neck, the hand. And he will have to do it again. So sometimes we don't even bother doing the laundry anymore, because when you do it, he will do it again. So in that case, he does it. So that is a different case. It means that that lady is not being compelled to do it. She wants to do it. So the man can go extra mile by giving her a therapy to disabuse that which she had already. But if it is something that person loves to do, I think it's fine. In this case, if it's something the person loves to do, the person loves to clean, some people like it. It's an habit, his hobby, and then I think it is fine.
Okay, so in addition to that, I said earlier that we are in an era where technology is, we have many things that can help with household chores and household. The person portable, what the other partner can do is look for ways to ease the person's stress, with the aid of all these gadgets that can help ease the person's stress. Washing machine, vacuum cleaner, pressure cooker, food processor, and so many other things that can be gotten, to help lighten the person's burden. It shows you care, and it will go a long way in helping.
For instance, there's a lady that the husband bought washing machine for in order to help ease the work. But today, the woman doesn't use the washing machine because she loves to wash. She said, I was discussing with her, the husband spoke to me, so I went to talk to her. And she said, the washing machine wouldn't wash the clothes so well. And then secondly, the washing machine will make the clothes fade. So why use washing machine to wash them? So every Sunday, this lady is so used to it that she can wake up as early as 4:30 to wash. It has become something that is part of her. So like I said, there is need for this person to be spoken to, because the question isn't saying that the woman needs the man to help. Okay, the question is saying the man wants to help and the woman is saying no. So in that case, I think the woman needs help. She needs to be spoken to.
Thank you very much. So let's ask if Ms. Constance is with us, so we can throw
Ms.
the
Constance, are you with us?
Ms. Constance, are you with us? Hello, ma. Hello, ma. So the next question will be, okay. So the next question will be, conflicts that may arise from household chores. Mr. Benga. Sir, if I may ask, are you in a relationship?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so
but we are not living together.
Sorry?
So we are not living together. So yes.
Okay, Dr. Ernest.
All right. So the thing about conflict is it has a way of showing up even in unexpected areas. You cannot say you have it all covered. Sometimes it's look at the question that was asked just now. Oga wants to help. In fact, Oga helps, but Madam say the help no they good enough. So the other can cause conflict, right? If not properly handled. The man can say, you know what, I'll not do it again. If you let the work be killing you, I'll just be looking at you, because if I try to help, it's never good enough. I think that communication, all right, clear communication. Sometimes we think we're communicating, but if you were to ask the other person, what did you perceive of what I just said now? You'll be surprised that you communicated poorly. Not when my wife is offended, she doesn't need to say anything. I just know. I just know. You just see it in her disposition. And then if it's something that is obvious, I know where it's coming from. If it's not obvious, which can also happen, then I want to ask, what did happen? So yes, how to deal with things like this is to be honest and to speak clearly and to help the other person to acknowledge where you have failed. Okay, it's not always very easy for men. I was in a family where I never saw my father apologize to anybody. Okay, I never did. I hardly saw him do any house chores. So it doesn't really come that easy, but it's easy at the same time, I should say, because I don't have any problem apologizing. In fact, I don't even know why men have problem apologizing to their wives. Because when you upset people out there, you are quick to apologize. Why is it hard to apologize to the one that you say you love? All right, so it doesn't make any sense. So I think that clear communication would help. Sometimes what you are not sensing to be a problem is a problem for the other person. Okay. Like take the illustration I gave earlier, where my wife didn't want me in the kitchen. Okay, what I do at the point I held it like this. I held it because it was like, okay, I tried, but you stopped me, so I freed, and now she started giving gestures that suggest I want you back here, and I'm like, you know what? You gave that up, a long time ago. You thought I was the bad guy. I only wanted to help, but you felt whatever you felt. So, but what I do is to sit with her when I can and just gist. So she just gets things done like it's nothing, just because I'm there gisting. Even if she is not feeling like it or she's tired, she's able to get things done. We're talking, we're gisting. Before you know it, we're there and the food done. The next thing we dine in to chop the same food. So I could have said, you never wanted me in the kitchen, so I should hold it and stay. She's not going to deny it, right? Because she said it. I tried multiple times and just wasn't working. Make Korea not happen and I leave her. So, but have I found a way around? Even when I come back, I'm tired and stuff. I stay put and just make it a little easier for her. So I think if we learn to speak clearly, if we learn, and I don't know if we've, you see, let me chip this in. When we go back to Eden, there are a lot of things we will get to understand. When we understand that, so I came to that understanding that everything my wife does, she's simply helping me. Everything she does, okay? Meaning that cooking, I am the one who's supposed to be doing it. Huh? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Because the woman is the helper. So the helper is not now supposed to be the one who is responsible for anything. So if I see it in that light, you see culture, live this culture. I have 3 kids, okay? I didn't start giving them the first 2, I didn't start giving them a bath until they were 2. But my youngest kid just turned 1. I started giving him a bath before he turned 1. Why? Because I came to the realization that 2 is different from 3. Okay? I can come back from work, I'm tired, I will still have the energy to take all 3 of them to the bathroom, give them a bath. But I was usually scared of their fragility, which was why I didn't give the older 2 a bath until they were at least 2. So I would normally tell my wife, just they try. When they reach 2, you know how far now, okay? But when I saw that the dynamics has changed, now she has to deal with 3 children and other things. Those other things are still there, okay? So I didn't say, I do not have any sense of me doing my wife a favor by doing things around the house. Okay, I think if we come to that realization, a whole lot of things will change. Culture, but somebody, were we there when this culture was written? We met them. So when we meet these things, we should be able to question how they came to be, especially if there are things, if God is impressing something on your heart, and then he's giving us the Bible, and the Bible is clear that the woman came to us to help us. How is it then now that the helper is now the one who has the primary responsibility to get things done? And then you, who is being helped, you are feeling and acting entitled. So when you go back to foundations, you see that all these problems will cease to be problems. So you come into the house, and your wife say, babe, I don't tire. You met her in the house, babe, I don't tire. No problem. What have you been doing? Why is this one? Why is it? No, go and pick it up, get it done. If it hasn't been done, there's a reason why it hasn't been done. It's not the time to get judgmental because she's human. You say you love her. There should be empathy. In fact, you should do it first and I say, babe, this one where as I come house just the upside down. What happened? In fact, the way she will open up and start telling you about today, rather than you come and goes, what did happen? Your face not wrong. She too, she will give it back to you if she's a kind of woman who is impulsive. Okay, so if we understand that it's all my job, everything in that house is my responsibility, every single thing. So you see, even that will influence all this question of who does what. It is supposed to be me doing everything. I say, babe, support me with this one, and this one, get a CB. Not, you must do this one, I must do this one. This is your responsibility. Everything is the man's responsibility. All right? If you see that, that's the Bible, no, not the me talking. That the woman is coming to help me. I won't say more than that.
Wow. Yes, that's thank you so much. Thanks so much. You did a very good justice to that. And I think I can also pick from, because you made emphasis on this latter part of what you said, that men should actually own up to this, their families, their responsibilities. So if a woman must come in, of course, the woman is in that makes the home, but then you see them as the helper, not them as the one doing the work. And that's actually very clear. But another thing that I also learned from what you're saying is that even if you cannot do those things, those chores, if you don't have the capacity or the knowledge to do them, should be present, like emotionally and other aspects, supportive to your wife to actually make sure that those things are done. Not in a way to use, but then to show love. That's actually very clear. Thank you so much for that. And then the next question says, how do you delegate chores to the rest of the family, including the kids, or are they exempted? Then what kind of chores are they assigned to?
When it comes to the children, for the fact that they see us do it, they learn from us. Like I said, I and my husband do not share responsibilities. It's something we just interest. This person does this. So the children comes up and we make them do some certain things. I still remember the first thing I taught them is to sweep. And then the second thing is to wash the dishes. And I still remember them we were still on campus. My baby wasn't so tall. I had to put a stool and then I make her stand on it to wash the dishes. And by God's grace, my daughter is 13. She cooks. I will tell her when we are not home, she'll make jollof rice. She cooks spaghetti. She makes soup. She does anything. But if she wants to do it now, sometimes they are very lazy. They'll tell you, I'm not in the mood. And I ask, what do you mean? I can't remember telling my parents I'm not in the mood. But these days they tell it to your face and say, Mom, I'm not in the mood. Mom, I'm tired. I'm like, oh, you're tired. That means you're not ready to eat. So everybody's going to sit down and everybody's going to sleep. And then they should be the one to say, Mommy, okay, I will do it now. I was okay, go to the kitchen and do it. Okay, then another thing we do is to avoid some certain things. Okay, sometimes, like I said, I have two, and the two are girls. One is 13 and one is going to be 11 very soon. And then I say, okay, I also observe one doesn't love washing the dishes and one prefer to sweep and one doesn't like sweeping, one love to wash the dishes. So because I wouldn't want one to get used to it and when she grows up, it becomes a problem to me. I have to do some swap of roles. Okay, today we have a roster. Today, this week, you do the kitchen. In short, you just started this recently. This week, you do the kitchen. Tomorrow, this one does the sweeping. So they know. So this one will say, no, for you to do this. Oh, favor you to do this. And then they share the roles. And then what we do again is, okay, tomorrow morning, if you're the one doing the dishes and you do it in the night, we'll give you your pocket money to go to school. So that makes them want to do it because they want us to give them pocket money. But all those things is just motivator. Like, okay, you just have to do this and then to build their interest in doing those roles. By God's grace, it is helping for me. And I believe that what people can do there, we also like a therapy. I do tell people you can give stickers. Oh, you did this today, you have a sticker. God bless you, you're great. And the child have it at the back of our mind to say, I am great. So each time you do something good, you are great. But these are things that I didn't know from the onset, and I get to know as I study, that you can actually encourage your children by giving them awards. Oh, you've done this. Oh, kudos. And the child wants to do it again because the child wants a sticker or the child wants an award attached to those particular roles. Those things are motivators and it helps children to want to do them.
Yes, I have a follow-up question for what you mentioned. How do you want, because in sharing roles in the family, I think the foundation starts from the father and the mother, and the children are able to like look at the examples that they have ahead of them. So as parents, how do you want to be sure you're not being entitled to the children's responsibility and rather training them?
Okay, like I said, we do not share the rules. We make them do it. No, there's difference between sharing roles and assign it to individuals. But when you make them do all duties, okay, let me give you another practical example. I am a night person. My husband is a morning person. What I mean night person, when I was doing my program, I read at night. By 2 a.m., I'm asleep. My husband wakes up as early as 4:30. So it became a thing that when my husband wakes up at 4:35, he goes straight to the kitchen without waking me up because he knows that I have read all through, trying to get some work done, and I slept late. Okay, so knowing at a point, I noticed my daughter will look at it and say, okay, we did a game. And we said, who is the best cook? Who is the best cook? My children did two of us. And I said, wow, it means that the one is saying, then we asked, I was say, okay, who is the best, who cooks this food? Who's the best food when it comes to jollof rice? They say, Mommy, who's the best food when it comes to vegetable? They say, Daddy. You see, so that was where I became. I said, no, this is becoming trouble for me because they are going to learn from what I do. So I decided to start waking up early now. Now I kind of wake up early when my husband wakes to join him so that these children understand. So like I said, I do not share roles, I just make them do it. It's time for laundry, you do your laundry, you do your laundry, you sweep today, the other person was the dishes. Both of them were actually using one bed. It became a problem. They have conflict each time when it's time to lay the bed. I have to get another bed and separate it. Yes, I separated it. If you come to the house now, this one was just done 3 months ago. I had to give them separate bed in the same room. So you lay your bed and then you lay your bed. So nobody has conflict anymore. These are extra things I have to do in order to incorporate into them that it is a responsibility in which they have to do.
Thank you, Ma. So during pregnancy health or any health related issues like asthma or just pregnancy, who is to help do the chores on cooking, wife, husband, or any wife? Okay, let me rephrase. During pregnancy or health related issues, e.g. asthma, who is to help do the chores or cooking? Is it wife, husband, or only wife? Then or is it a good time to seek a house help?
Okay, when it comes to, thank you very much for the question. When it comes to pregnancy, let me go back to myself. Let me try to personalize it. During pregnancy, I throw up from the first trimester till the day I give birth. When it comes to eating, I do not eat food that I cook. Okay, so the first trimester, I did the cooking, but as soon as it was getting towards in the first trimester, the third month, I noticed that every food smells. So at that point, like I said, when I started, my husband loved cooking. And at that point, he came in, though it wasn't forceful, and he only noticed it. Now, there's need for sensitivity. There are times that women pretend to do something because they don't want to command it. I grew up from a family where you do not impose something on your husband. They will say it's disrespectful. So what I do is, each time I cook, I don't eat. And my husband said, why are you not eating? I say, I don't feel like eating. So with that, he was very much helpful. So I think when it comes to pregnancy, the men should please be considerate and also be helpful. And if the man is not the kitchen type like Dr. Ernest talked about, I think there's also things that people do. You can get a trustworthy caterer who will come and cook. The person is not a house help, but the person can cook and then you put in the freezer and then you can warm each time you want to eat. Probably that will help. I didn't do that, but these are things we educate people that if the man wouldn't be able to do it, you can actually seek help. Someone can cook and keep for you, and then you go on.
Thank you very much, Ma. So because of our time, we're going to cut short this session. Well, this question will go to Mr. Benga. So as a single, like as we're not married, what are your ideas on or take on cooking? Do you eat out or do you make your meals by yourself? Do you clean, wash, or have someone to do that for you?
Okay, I cook myself, but I also eat out once in a while. Yes, but it's cost friendly if I do cook myself. You know, by time the money I will use to eat out, by the time I use it to buy ingredients and cook, probably I'll use it to eat twice or 3 times. You know, so I do cook myself. I wash sometimes, and I use the washing machine sometimes. Then for cleaning, yes, I clean. I clean myself. Yeah.
This is a follow-up question. During your relationship, do you expect your girlfriend or fiance to do the chores as a sign of him or her, as a sign of her being responsible or a wife material?
No, I actually don't expect that. You know, like I said earlier, we don't live together. If she comes visiting, if you want to help, there's nothing wrong in you helping. But it is not our duty to do that. You know, it is not our duty to do that. You are the owner of the house, you should be able to take care of yourself. When she comes or when you get married to her, then okay, probably, you have to help each other out in doing so many things, But if she wants to do it, no problem about that, But I won't say because I'm in a relationship with you, then you must do this when you come visiting. Okay, you must step and sweep the house. You must, it's
Okay.
sometimes, the way I leave my things, if you come and disarrange itself and I start looking for things, it becomes a problem to me. So it's better you just leave it. Let me do it myself, So I don't expect her to do that.
In the this is for everyone to give their input. This thing about you're cutting a man or you're cutting a female and you take them to their prospective in-laws, and then maybe you have a meal and it's expected, maybe African mentality, it's expected that, oh, the lady should go into the kitchen and assist the mother-in-law to be. What are your views on that? Do you think it's like a mandatory something to show that, okay, she is or homely or wife material? So everybody's looking at each other. I think everyone should talk, especially Mr. Benga.
Okay, thank you once again. I wouldn't, it's not mandatory, but culturally, Africans, we believe in culture. You won't be there, you won't visit your in-laws and someone you're getting married to, the woman is in the kitchen, then you sit down and watch the person do the chores. So it is better the woman is in the kitchen, just go there. Sometimes some people will tell you, go and sit down. And some people will just, while you are doing those things, you can discuss and discuss about life. And it's not mandatory, but I feel as African culture, it is ideal that you don't fold your hands when the woman is in the kitchen. It's just ideally, but not mandatory.
Yeah, I will agree with her. She said it's not mandatory. It's really not mandatory. It's not your first visit. Okay, probably your first visit. Yeah, you don't know your way around, and everybody treats you as a visitor. But consequently, you want to recognize yourself as part of the family. That means you need to be free. And part of being free is probably helping out where necessary, But it is not mandatory, but a virtuous woman will know that it is ideal.
I think we should focus on the first visit, because we hear of things of the mother-in-law to be just automatically expecting, okay, now we are all Africans. What if you marry an international person? Expecting the lady to, the wife to be just pack the dishes and go wash them. So I think
I think it's just the right thing to do. All right, there's something referred to as native intelligence. Because where else should you be? Your mother-in-law is in the kitchen, to be, I should say. All right, and it's for me, it's gonna be a display of insensitivity if you are in the living room gisting with the boys, and you don't even have the presence of mind to say, "Oh, where's Mama?" Okay, just by asking that alone, and you are made to realize she's in the kitchen, and you have a sense of why she's in that kitchen. Okay, so I don't want to say whether it's mandatory or not. I just think duty demands that you show that courtesy and support her. Let her be the one to say, "Oh, no, my daughter, come on. Many more opportunities will arise. Let's go." And even that, you should not be too quick to say, "Okay, look at down with the boy." It could be a test, seeing how you want to stop, right? it could be her trying to size you up on issues that are of importance to her. And you see, remember that in this our part of the world, you are not just marrying to an individual, you're marrying into a family. All right. Even marriage itself is the coming together of two families. So these are moments that you should not fail to seize to demonstrate that you are actually one with that family. Okay. So rather than, for goodness sake, you're going to have your quiet moments. You're going to have thousands of hours when you can sit down, cross your legs, and you don't have to bother who's in the kitchen. That's not one of those times, I should say. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay, we have a question from the physical audience.
Thank you for the opportunity. Before I ask my question, I have a different opinion from your answers, and I stand to be corrected. Actually, this is a first visit. I brought my wife to be to my house. I don't think I expect her to start entering the kitchen and start helping out and washing dishes. What if my mom doesn't really like someone to help out? What if she doesn't really want someone to cook for her husband or for the family? I feel that she only can go if she's invited. Hi, Derek, can you come and help out? Oh, please, can you help me with these dishes? Then I think that's the time she can actually assist. But for the very first visit, and you're already all over the house, trying to enter the kitchen and do what, some people will target to pretense. Some people will say that you want to do over sabi, and maybe you want to claim to be a good wife material, which you are not. So I feel that that should be on invitation. If the mother-in-law wants you to come to the kitchen to see if you know how to cook, or to know the kind of woman, she will invite you, please come and help. That's my opinion, though, which I stand to be corrected. Then my question is, assuming I'm a man and I don't like, or I don't know how to wash, I don't enjoy washing clothes, right? And I find it difficult to wash my clothes. And I'm looking out for a spouse, a girlfriend, a fiance, or whatever. Should it be one of the criteria that I should look out for in my woman? Remember, she's a companion, she's a helpmate, she's to make up me, she's to fit into to where I'm not really functioning, so that we can be compatible. I'm lazy in washing. Should I actually go ahead and marry a woman who's lazy in washing? Now, I know some people will say, what of washing machine? I also believe there are also places where there is no electricity. And what if the family is not buoyant enough to get themselves this washing machine? So is it a criteria? Is it one of the things I must or I should look out for in a wife? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to address the first question. That is also important for the two people in relationship to discuss. There's need for you to discuss. I don't know how it is done now. You know, when you are discussing, your boyfriend, let me use the word, your boyfriend will tell you, this is my parents' lifestyle. This is what my parents will take. This is what my parents will take. So that when you are coming to the house, you already have an idea of what that house is, the family dynamics. So with that, you have that orientation already. So when you come to the house, if somebody tells me that, please, when you come to my house, don't be too forward, sit down. My mom will surely invite you. With that, when you get to the house, you just sit down and wait for the woman to invite you. You could even ask a question, ma'am, please, do you need help? And then the woman can say, please come. But in a situation where you do not communicate, you're also putting the woman into a test because you're not communicating. You didn't tell her what your family dynamics is. So the woman don't know where she stands. So even when she gets to the house, she's scared. She's indifferent. She's just here and there. She's even confused. Should I go? Should I sit? A lot of things rings in our minds as women. We are strategizing. What will I do that will provoke this woman? That is the essence of dating. Before you take a woman to the house for the first time, let the woman know what is ideal in your home, your family dynamic, that this is what is accepted, and that will help resolve the conflicts.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Zamas. I'll also invite Pastor
Second question.
Okay, the second question, I think because you came late, we already addressed that aspect of washing. That we said the essence of dating is communication. When you communicate while you're dating, it will help you know what you're getting into. I used myself as an example when we're discussing. At the time when I was about getting married, I told my husband that I really do not like washing clothes. It's not as if I don't do it, okay? But it is not something I can do any other chores. But that washing, because each time I wash, I have some bruises in my hands. And he told me, don't worry, we'll do it together. So what we did was he encouraged me, and when we got married, we washed together. So each time, every Sunday, when we are at home in the morning, we bring out the clothes together and we do the washing. That was also helping to encourage me and build my interest. And I went further to say, because of that, the first project we had to do in the house was to buy a washing machine so that it doesn't become a problem. So because of the washing machine, it is everybody. Till now, he does the more of the laundries. We just put them in the machine and it washes it, and everybody is good to go. That is why it is good. There is need for communication, there's need for dialogue, and there's need for negotiation in relationship.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ma. Okay. I just want to add that sticking to what I said earlier, which is a matter of principle derived from the Bible, right? That the man is primarily responsible for everything and the woman is helping. Take cooking, for example, which I already told you guys is not really my thing. So multiply how many times my wife will have to cook in a day, and multiply the number of days you have in a year, and multiply that by the total number of years we live together as man and wife. See, that's a lot. There are times when I come back and my wife has not cooked anything. I just look for something and make peace with myself and watch something and forget about the evening. All right? Because for goodness sake, she makes food happen every other day. It's not that one of that evening that will make me not to see the next day if my time to die has not come. All right? I really think that men have to take more responsibility. See, when you look at how things are playing out, literally getting out of hand, it's because fewer men are taking responsibility. Too many men are not taking responsibility and are shifting blames all around. So you meet a woman and she's everything you want in a woman, but she doesn't like washing clothes, then you say, oh, not this one. Huh? Then you meet somebody who washing clothes is the best thing that happened to her, but she's terrible with every other thing. No woman or man will give you everything you want. You need to look for what you, and for goodness sake, washing, well, again, Benga already said technology. Buy a washing machine. Then, and again, your question has too many what ifs. Too many what ifs, too many hypothetical contexts. I really think that if we want to solve problems, we will solve problems. Because that posturing is the type that seeks to shift responsibility so that if something were to go wrong, you blame someone else. Because I think very, very strongly that for something like I don't like doing dishes. Okay? Because of my background, like I told you, I had girls all around me. But I had to bring myself to the point where if I go to the sink and my plate is the only plate that will be there. In fact, it doesn't have to be the only plate. I go there and I meet some other plates, and I know that my wife is no longer in a position to come back to the kitchen to do anything because she's taking care of that department already. I will not be waiting for her to come back to now do my dish. Now she cooked the food to do my dish, and then whatever else is there. If I don't have the energy, I'll just do the basic things that are there. If there's something like pot, I can leave that one. But if it is pot that is not badly stained, that will not need too much energy, I just do it and then clear out the place. Does that mean that I like doing dishes? No, I don't like doing dishes. But it's a sensible thing to do. All right. So get yourself a washing machine. It helps. For those of you who think that it's going to wear the clothes out, are you going to wear the clothes forever? It's even an avenue for you to get new clothes and move on with life and stop looking for who you're going to be blaming for your problems.
Thank you so much, sir. Like you said, I'm not a panelist, but I have very practical examples. Like, for example, my own home, like they're saying, several times I go back home, my dad is on I went to his car and get food stores from market, get home. Nothing like waiting for mom to come and cook sometimes. Like, we just do the cooking. I mean, I get your perspective. And then when mom comes back, of course, you do the best of the cooking. But then when it comes to eating, we have to eat. So I get that part. So let's welcome Pastor Dixon as it comes to wrap up. I don't know if it was easier. Okay. Okay. Right now, I want to appreciate every panelist that is here, Dr. NS, Mr. Benga, and Dr. Abigail. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please, can you give me a round of applause, please?
Thank you.
Thank you.